right there, I want to have an explosion. Boom.
Part of me wants to see an explosion. The other part of me would feel bad.
I, wa- I, wa- I watched you back on it the other day. I don't know, it might have been Saturday's show. Um, but I was checking out the Shelf Help Show page. No, the YouTube channel. So it's nice and clean. And then the Shelf Help Show website, nice and clean. So I just wanted to see if we came across any better. Of course, the content of our 6 hour conversation eventually. No, I think it started off with BDSM and then morphed into, I don't know, 6 hours of stuff. Where the last hour was the actual part when we talked about healing and depression and like kind of the point of the show, like how to get
Right.
better, how to feel better.
Right.
That took hour 5, but anyways, I saw the intro with the Jets, and I was like, I was cooking something. And I was watching it from the
So,
kitchen.
so I know this is not the topic of this show, but let me ask you a question. So, do you feel that bettering oneself really starts with a mindset, right? If you're not open, if you're
100%.
not willing to change your normal point of view,
Yeah,
like I don't want to say hopeless, but hopeless is dramatic. But if you're not willing to change just your the way you look at things, the way you react to things, I think that's huge too, right? If I'm just wondering, what's your opinion on that? If you're not willing to go down that road, then it's pretty damn hard to help anybody. I mean, I mean, the old saying, you can really only help someone who wants help, right? Who helps
yeah,
themselves.
yeah. That's true. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, the idea was self help of any sort, or if you're using resources and or friends and or a community, is no one's going to make you get better,
Right.
right? You you have to step up to the plate and be willing to say, like, I don't like how things are. I want it to be different. I want to be better.
Right.
Like, yeah, you can't run an intervention on life is hard.
Right.
Change your fucking mindset.
Right.
But it's a
Well,
process. I mean,
right.
it's not as simple. Sometimes it's just changing your mind, but you'll never get anywhere unless you decide I'm fucking tired of this and I want to improve. I want to be better.
Right. And I'm ready for a change.
You got to be fed up with it. You got to be like, this is unsatisfying.
Right.
Was that
And I
Breakfast Club?
think I think we make a bigger deal of everything. I, I really think we make a bigger deal of things that just aren't big deals.
Oh, you mean like just as humans,
Yeah.
or just me and you?
What are you talking about? I never make a big
But,
deal about things that aren't a big
no.
deal. No, but I think that we let things live in our brain
Oh
that
yeah,
it's just like, what? If you just took a step back and if you were looking at your own brain, right, and the ideas that are floating in that, you'd be like, that's just fucking stupid. What a waste of time. What a waste
right,
of energy. Bigger part is a waste of energy.
right.
So, but
Well,
yeah, it's funny.
energy is time. So I mean, you got to think about you.
Right,
We have a finite amount of resources that we're going to use in our
right.
life.
And why the hell should I put that much energy towards something
Right.
that
It's
just
like how many hours are you going to sleep in your life? A lot.
right,
How many hours are you going to do X, eat? How many hours are you going to have sex? How many hours are you going to work? When you allocate your time out and you think like, I have all this other time in between that I is spent worrying about things that I can't fucking control.
right. It is what it is.
Then, God forbid, you spend the time trying to control it.
Right, right.
Then, like, why does it matter? Why?
Right.
Why do you care so much?
What do you think that is, right? What do you think makes our perception? Because that's what it is. It's all perception, right? What
Yeah.
really matters and what doesn't matter. It depends on the person. But what do you think? What is it with our programming? Influences that we uh, we categorize things that really aren't important to important because of media, because of family, because it's funny, right? Sometimes, and I love when I have epiphanies, right? When you're stressing about something, you're stressing, and you just go, wait a minute,
What am I doing?
what, what? Okay, so what's the worst that could happen?
Right.
Fuck, what I just wasted all that time. I'll never get that time back. It was not
Yeah.
enjoyable.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
it
that's
is.
actually that's a question that's a question I ask myself actually, and I actually I got to write some of this stuff down because I know the things that I do, and if someone was to ask, I can give the answer, but I think having a credo, having a list of values is important.
Oh yeah,
To me, like words describe feelings, and then words will also describe behavior, which is action.
yeah.
So you gotta start somewhere with that. But yeah, when I'm if I'm vacillating, or if I'm, what's the word, perseverating, just thinking over and over and over about something,
Right.
and then I start imagining, oh, outcomes are bad. Like I don't know exactly what the bad outcome is, but it's going to be bad, whatever it is.
So when I take THC, I can
Yeah,
actually, I could, I can go through uh, 3 to 4 scenarios from beginning to ending, and I can see them all happen in my head at once. I don't know why that happens to me. Like I haven't heard that a lot with people. Ernie and I call it time travel, but I can actually go, oh, what about? And then all of a sudden, foo, 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 I can see all like how it acts out and stuff in real time. It's crazy.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. That was random.
That's
I
called
don't know.
hallucinating, my friend.
You think so?
Well, that's because you eat it,
Right, right.
so it
But
has a different effect, right?
right, but you're really not. It's
What
not like I'm really seeing it. Like I know
it's not. You're right.
I'm
It's
seeing it in
not
my
visual
mind's eyes.
hallucination. It's yeah. You close your eyes and you can see
Right. And I
what's that
love
called?
when it comes all back. And it's like it's almost like the same sensation of when you get a concussion and the world's spinning, and then all of a sudden everything goes and everything stops. That's how it, without the pain, obviously, without the concussion. But after, it's like, okay, we just went on this journey, 4 different journeys at once. Okay, what was the right choice?
11 hydroxy.
Oh, you're talking
11
about,
hydroxy.
dude. I think that
That's
stand up
yeah.
when
I know.
Rogan talks about how it's broken down by your liver instead of your lungs. He goes, he talks about that. And he goes, it allows you to talk to dolphins.
Yeah,
That was so
yeah.
great. I laughed my ass off. And he's talking about the guy for the gummies. He's like, oh, that's some funny shit. Give me a second, because I just want to grab my other dip can.
Oh,
Oh,
I think he was talking about Joey Diaz. Joey Diaz just like eating them like candy. That's the problem with edibles. If
oh
you
yeah,
if you
for
eat
sure.
edibles and then you get hungry and then you eat more, you got to remember there's a big delay there. It's like
Yeah,
drinking, if you're drinking THC tea,
right. Oh yeah, we've had that
and
discussion, haven't we, there, son?
and make sure you don't add more sugar and ice to a tumbler full before you go to bed, because you're not going to sleep well for 3 days,
Right.
but you're not going to be able to open your eyes, but you're not going to want to keep them closed.
So back to what the self help thing for a second, because I think it's
Yeah,
important, right?
no, I agree.
Um, and this is going to sound cocky, but you'll know what I'm talking about. So I feel like, right, I think people that are like us, who I think are the some of the most insecure people on the planet. However, it's
Most
we are
insecure, but
such
most confident.
right. We're the biggest
Yeah,
conundrum, the biggest oxymoron, right, or whatever you want to say. It is.
dichotomy,
It, it's fascinating, right?
dichotomy.
I was on a call today for a prospectively huge customer, and I'm not a sales guy. It's not what I do, but because I knew somebody who knew somebody, it's an opportunity for our company, and we nailed it. But I'm on the call and I'm listening, and I was a little nervous because I didn't really know the customer really well. I actually at all, and to be honest, the person who hooked it up, but his company works for my company, so I really didn't know him that well. So at the same time, being really really nervous because of the opportunity, like like I'm just it's a normal situation, but I'm listening to the people talk on the call, and in my brain I just kept going, who taught you how to communicate with other human beings? So at one point, the nervousness of being in the scenario, but the second point, I had to keep jumping in to right the ship because I was listening. They were drowning, absolutely drowning. We still got it because of I said at the end, I summed it up. I said, listen, here's the deal. Communication is key, right? I know everybody pounds that into the ground, but here's the deal. I don't work in pest consumer service. And that's how you should think of every single thing. And the guy who's a bigwig, he was like, dude, I love that. That's really good. I said, I mean it. So there I am in the most, not that I was terrified, but I was nervous. And I just came through and I was like, I'm watching everybody else drown and I'm going, oh my God, jump in, jump in, hell. But it's just, I find it, I feel like that we are qualified to help people more than I think we realize sometimes. Because is it because we fake it till we make it? Or do we really do we see the real big picture, the important things when it comes to others and not so much our own heads? What do you think the reason is for that?
I don't necessarily think we fake it till we make it. I think that we're wired in such a way that we create roadmaps for life. We
Okay.
create maps for everything. So we naturally, as you say, you call it like the voices, right? You got the voices, you got all this dialogue going on in your head. You have um, your you're checking and rechecking all possible outcomes and all possible routes. The insecurity comes with not knowing which one you're going to have to take until you're faced with taking it.
Right.
Indecision is not a problem. The problem is when we're not moving forward, then it's like it's like you parked your car inside the garage and you close the door and you wonder why you're getting uncomfortable from all the gas.
Right.
It's like you got to do something with the energy. You got to do something with thoughts. So because if we don't have a path and we don't know what our goal is at the time, our brain just goes like, well, okay, well, let's solve for all of them, all the variables,
Right.
and then your brain starts doing that for you, and you don't even realize that that's happening because we're naturally we you and I or people like us are wired to go quickly down a path, solve for whatever the hell it happens without any thought, and we get stronger and stronger as we do it, where other people are like, holy shit, how are you comfortable getting up in front of a stadium of 70,000 people and talking?
Right.
I'm like, well, all the way up until the point where I grabbed the mic, I thought I was going to pass out, but I moved forward. You take it, you take the
it's
step.
so it's so it's so true.
Right.
until or until I find the one.
Prove.
I
Yeah,
just need
you're
somebody
yeah,
to shake their head yes
yeah,
or make eye contact and smile.
yep.
Then I can take over. I don't know about 70,000. I probably still would shit myself. But I was in the one I did in California in February. It was about 100 people. I knew two of them. And number one, they're super religious. So the whole time I'm going, don't curse, don't curse, don't curse. And I don't mean curse like fuck or shit, but like hell or damn, or you say things in a speech or whatever. So I'm like, don't curse, don't curse, don't curse. And I was behind the podium, and I think I've already told this story to you, possibly, but I was behind the podium, and I'm like, this isn't going to work for me. I walked outside the podium, put the microphone down because I could definitely talk to a room of 100 people without any microphone or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, you can project.
But it made me feel completely different because one of the guys up front, who I didn't even know, one of the things I said, he was like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Boom, gone. We're good. Let's go and let's rock." And
Yeah,
I turned to the guy. I'm like,
that's
"How
different.
how much time do I have?" He goes, "Fucking talking to you turn blue." I said, "Well, that'll be quite a while." But yeah, I don't know. I feel I see things that other people don't see. I think I see things what other people want to say and aren't
Mhm.
comfortable saying it.
Yep.
And I try to incorporate their voice in my voice sometimes,
Yep.
to kind of give them confidence to be able to say something, which I think is so insane because, like you said, until you grab the microphone, I'm going to shit myself the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
it's weird, dude. I don't know. I don't know. It's
we're
funny.
people who are wired like we are uncomfortable with inaction. Doesn't mean we can't relax, because we can relax. We
Oh
can
yeah,
do that because we know we're doing it on purpose. But if we don't have a mission, and we don't have a um what's the word? Hold on. I'm missing the other word for some reason.
direction. You said.
Uh, well, I'll just say uh, mission. Mission is key.
Oh,
If we don't
mission. Okay.
if we don't have a mission, we don't have a goal, then we don't have something to aim for, then we don't know what to do with the fact that we're hunters.
Right, and then we
We
start
need
we
to.
start to we start not make up stuff, but try to
Yeah,
find goals on the run. I really feel like I
right.
do that all the
And
time.
so in this media heavy time, obviously, and all different ways that you can get to it, it doesn't take much if you're presented with three options of a story of something that's going on. Your brain's going to go like, whatever. Oh, okay, I want to pick that one. And
Right.
whatever that topic is, you're like, okay, well, this is going to be this is my goal. Is this topic all of a sudden? And then you start looking on your phone and you're trying to dig in and learn a little bit more. And then you're like, well, this is bullshit. Oh, this is lies. And then your brain's just going, yeah, you better solve for the lies in your head, because we know that's not true and the world is falling apart. And here's how we know this, John. You know what I mean? And then your
Right.
brain is like,
And the worst
and
part is right now,
you made something your mission that shouldn't have been.
right. And the worst part is now is that I have less patience and
The
less
bullshit.
tolerance for those who can't see what's right in front of their face
Yeah.
over and over again. Like I don't understand it. Like it I am to the part of, and I never thought, dude, I never thought I'd be one of those people that would be like, well, if you don't think the way I do, then I really can't fucking have anything to do with you. But I think it's a self preservation thing for me where it's just like, it is so much energy fighting off the bullshit
Yeah.
over and over. And it's the same thing. And it's that group think, stupid, great example. Let's get into Rittenhouse. He's a white supremacist.
Yeah.
Well, explain to me why he's a white supremacist. Well, he's a white supremacist. Okay, great explanation. How is he a white supremacist when he was protecting two car lots owned by Indians uh, from India, killed three white people?
Who the
Where's
FBI surveillance shows him being attacked by them.
where is the white supremacy? I'm very confused, but I
Right.
understand. I understand,
You
but
understand
the
what?
people don't see through the bullshit. just fucking it taps me to 10, dude. Oh, I just like I'm
I was
like,
wa- I was watching it here real time because I had the SARS-CoV-2 and was in my house for 10 plus days. So I have it on in the background and I'm working here at the desk and I'm paying attention to the news. And at first, like literally watching it live, I watched the bullshit happen. So
right,
I think it's CBS News. It's like some little white girl out there in Wisconsin. And I believe the anchor at the desk might have been Caucasian also, if I recall. But didn't take long to get a non-Caucasian person in there to take over. So they're at the courthouse, and it went down like within the last hour. And the cameraman's showing there's like 30 people, maybe 50, 60 people out at the courthouse, and there, there's no one's upset, no one's making noise, there's no drama, literally none. And the anchor asks live, hey, so um, tell me about tell me about the tension that's going on there. And she says, well, actually, and she's walking around looking. She's like, there really is none. These people have been here for 3 days, basically on and off. And earlier they were having cookies with the police department. I'm not kidding. They were having cookies together. She goes, now there's a couple people that have signs over here that says like free Kyle. And then there's a couple people over here who have signs that say like, he's guilty. But they're actually, everyone's been really polite to each other and they're very respectful. They have their own opinion of how they think things should go based on what they think the facts are, but he was acquitted. And yeah, everyone's fine. There's no tension. There's no nothing. And that was the wrong answer because
no shit.
you have to find some drama here. So I'm watching this. I'm like, okay, cool. Now let's see where the narrative breaks because this is not good news coverage for the sheeple. This does not drive people to tune in, throughout the weekend and or to go burn shit and break shit and act like assholes. It doesn't drive the narrative. So I'm watching. I'm still working. And I was like, wow, look at that! I just saw truth in reporting because it happened live. There's
Hope you
nothing you can.
recorded
There's
it
nothing you do.
because
And
they
then
can't up it again.
she comes back and she's like, you could tell that someone's in her ear telling her to ask some more inflammatory questions. She's like, well, what do you think the tensions are, about maybe rioting this weekend because of, racial issues? She's like, no, I don't see it. Like, I don't see it. And I was like, good for you. And she even like went around to people and she was like, hey, I like everyone cookies with the cops. Everyone had cookies at the courthouse.
Fuck.
And then there's like 8 people on the steps of the courthouse, maybe 8 to 10 that are a little close together. So the cameraman, they have 2 feeds going. They've got like, 5 screens, like kind of they were split in 5 ways, a mosaic style. On the big tile, the cameraman zooms in like 100 times. So he's so close in on this group of 8 people that you can't even see faces. You just see color and movement because it's so close up that you just see the shaking going on, right?
Right.
Because you're way the fuck back there. But then, so then she's like, well, tensions at the courthouse, blah, 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 blah. And the reporter's kind of like trying to go with it. And you could tell totally reluctant, like, I'm lying. And they're trying to use the footage that they're faking by zooming in really tight. But on the square number 3 also, they have the feed that's from a distance. So you can see that there's 8 people. And then now they're saying that tensions are rising, and they're zoomed in, and there's one black guy, like a big tall black guy with a mask on, and like he looks like a plant. He legit comes in. He wasn't there having cookies, and all of a sudden he's like talking down. He seemed to be really tall, and he's talking to some little white guy in his 50s, and the white guy like kind of walked up to him like, hey, like what's going on? Because the guy is standing there yelling all of a sudden, nobody was yelling. This one black guy was yelling. So they go up and he's like, well, like you can tell he's like curious, like, what are you yelling about? And the guy's like very respectful. They're just kind of listening, like, okay, yeah, all right. Like no, still no tension. But now they're trying to make a race war happen because one large African American man is now in a group of 100 white people. Oh no, they're all mixed. They were mixed. Like I was just saying, the guy. I think he was obvious because he's like wearing an orange jumper and like he he stood
Handcuffs,
he
right?
stood out in the crowd. Like you can pick him out, which is another reason why now they're zoomed in on him, and then be like, well, tension's raised. I'm like, they're manufacturing tension. And the other people aren't even taking the bait. They're still not upset. They're just kind of like, hey, why are you raising your voice? Are you okay? You could tell they look like, are you okay? Do you want a cookie? A hug? He's like, good, 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 good. And then now they just start. Now they're bullshitting. Now they're just lying. They're making believe like something is happening that is not happening. You can see the lie happening on the screen in real time from a distance and then up close. I'm like, this is crazy. I wonder where how far they're going to try and take the narrative now with the big black guy in the crowd who wasn't part of the crowd. So the reporter, she's still walking around in circles, kind of like, there's not anything going on over here, guys. Like, I've got nothing for you. I'm literally looking at things and describing them for you. That's what she was
Right.
doing. She's like, and then the tree is green and brown. And then the yellow bug just went by. Slug bug. I got, nothing. And now the reporter is like, well, I mean, this all started because there was riots over the murder of this guy who wasn't murdered, whoever the Jacob guy is.
Right. He's not dead.
He,
Right.
he's not dead. And I was like, oh, okay, blatant lie. Now they're trying to they're misrepresenting what's
Yep.
going on. I said, I see it. There's a reason why we're not considered a strong democracy. This is the reason. When we were looking at the ranking of the U.S. falls as a
Right.
flawed democracy
Right.
because the involvement in politics is not based on truth, and the media is 100% biased. Like 95% of the media is biased towards making lies and propaganda.
Right. Because it's
So on
clickbait.
the
It's
world
all
stage,
clickbait.
we're losing credibility. Now they've always, don't get me wrong, the media is always, if it bleeds, it leads. I understand, right? You'd make things more sensational than they are. But for this day and age, for the sensational part not to be some dramatic depiction of the reality or an exaggeration of the reality, it's literally National Enquirer lies.
Yeah.
Straight up shitty fucking dime store magazine lies.
It's
But
horrible.
it's not cute. It's not entertaining.
No.
It's
No.
not like
It's
Brad Pitt got a brain transfusion or a brain, like what
or
tell lies in the National Enquirer of the Globe. That's
my
fine.
my wife cheated on me with a Sasquatch. Right.
Right.
It's
Satire is satire.
right.
And those companies that put out the lies, they get sued all the time, and they have to pay a lot of money, and
Right.
they have to say, well, okay, if we're going to move 5 million papers at $3 a piece,
Right.
what does it take to indemnify us when Brad Pitt sues us on this lie? It's
Right.
gonna move a lot of papers. They take a calculated
Right.
risk when they do it. The
Sure.
problem is the traditional media is they're not being satirical. They're lying, and they're doing it because they appear to have an agenda that's very, very specific,
And it's
and
terrible.
that's scary. Like
It's fucking
this day and age is now when I understand communist or fascist countries who had their propaganda machines and just literally put out lies until they exterminated the Jews.
yep.
Like, do
It's
you the fact that people don't see it and they can't see through it and they don't fact check anything, they don't believe anything, they just the average IQ is 100. The average reading level is sixth grade. I understand this, but
Do you
it's
think it's
sad.
even that still? I think it's lower now. I think it's
Nah,
lower. Because, dude, it was average reading level was 6th grade when I was in school, when we were in school. I bet you it's lower
it might
now.
be higher.
You think it's
I don't know.
higher?
People are reading memes, I guess. Maybe they're not reading actual words, but it's ridiculous. It's upsetting. I was sitting here and I just started to have rage. That was my first reaction. At first, I was like puzzled, and then I was like, "Huh, look at fucking this! This is crazy." I'm watching
Yeah.
it unfold in front of me,
Yep.
and they're just gonna keep paring it down until they find the 2 sentences that they have to say to get the biggest fucking reaction out of people and get them to go create problems. It's
I
gross.
know you can't sue an acting president, but you can sue the pact that put out the commercials while he was running.
Yeah,
That said that Rittenhouse
he
was a
can
white supremacist.
he'll be sued. You can't. You can sue them, but it's not going to litigate until they're out of office.
Is that how it
You can
works?
file a lawsuit. Yeah, you can
Okay,
file
so
a
you
lawsuit.
can't sue a sitting president. Then
You're not gonna.
is
You
that
can't
what it
bring them
is?
up on. You can't bring them up on charges unless they're, federal.
Criminal, right?
Um,
Unless right,
yeah,
not
then the federal
civil.
government does it. They
Yeah.
impeach. It's a different
And
justice
and
system.
the White House came out and said he's running in 2024.
He's gonna be dead. He
He's
literally looks like
like,
he looks like the fucking crypt keeper. Can he already?
no,
Can he announce already?
no, yeah. Saki said that he's running again in 2024.
Hmm.
And I disagree with you on the crypt keeper thing because the crypt keeper could put full sentences together.
Yeah, crypt keeper was eloquent
and fucking witty as all hell.
and didn't look like he smelled like formaldehyde and feces.
Dude, just it's bad. It's just but like you said, the rage part, I just yeah. And it isn't again, it isn't so much what they're reporting and what they're saying, people believing it. That's the
Right.
part what gives me rage.
Yeah, yeah. If
The,
everybody
the,
saw it the same way we did and go like, okay, this is bullshit. Well,
like the ignorance,
I think
the
it's half.
ignorance that
I think it's half. It's you have
dude,
you have people who are ignorant and are going to be part of the 75, 80 million who vote for the wrong reasons for somebody. They vote not that other guy, basically.
right?
And then you have the libertarian conservative camp who we think we don't trust. We don't trust implicitly on the big five personality traits, um, which is based on Carl Jung and his career as a psychotherapist and psychiatrist. You can guess somebody. You can predict somebody's political bent
Uh-huh.
based on those personality traits.
Interesting.
And people who have higher trait neuroticism, which is prone to anxiety, nervousness, and withdrawal, and introversion, people higher in trait neuroticism tend to be liberal, progressive liberals.
Interesting.
The more neurotic you are, it's because there's this desire for everything to need to be, or this desire for everything to be okay because of that trait neuroticism, that it's really easy to hide behind groupthink. Because if you're part of the crowd and we all think the same thing and we all get the
Right.
same shots and we all do the
Safety in
same,
numbers. Right.
then we're going to be okay. And then anybody who wants to take that safety away from me, or anybody who tells me that I didn't make a good choice, not even that you want to take it away from me, just you're disagreeing with me.
Right.
Think about people who get upset when you disagree with them.
Yeah.
Women who on the scale are 60% Trait neuroticism is higher than men
Plus,
by,
women aren't funny.
by that's right, by 25. They're higher by like 25 points. And this is just empirical data. It's not an opinion. They're higher than men are when it comes to trait neuroticism. They tend to be more disagreeable they are um, when they're upset. But in general, women are more agreeable than men if you just measure the scale.
Yep.
Um, they're more polite than men, more conscientious than men. They just are. It's just the difference is intrinsic no matter what. And then if you take men who are also have those traits, then they all tend to be liberal. So that's 100 years worth of data
Right.
that it's nobody. It's honestly it's just scientific.
Yeah, just it's a lot of the studies Jordan Peterson does. So
Yep, he's a big Jungian. U.S. literacy rate is 7th to 8th grade.
really,
Yeah, so maybe it's improved.
huh?
I would expect that literacy would improve because your ability to read a string of words and understand it is how we calculate or how we identify literacy. It's going to be naturally higher because your exposure, even if it's in small chunks,
I was going to say due to technology too.
it's there all the time.
Right.
It doesn't mean literacy doesn't mean that you're an intellect, and it doesn't mean that you're
Right.
intelligent. It just means that you have the capacity to
Right.
process. So remember that, folks. I'm not giving you credit for shit. You're dumb as a box of rocks.
A 7th to 8th grade box of rocks.
7th, 8th grade, which could still be where the red fern grows. You probably still wanted to read Ralph S. Mouse, Super Fudge, and probably not Prince Caspian, and probably not the C.S. Lewis books were probably a bit too complicated. That could be 7th or 8th grade. Could be like the C.S. Lewis books, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Voyage of the Dawn Treader. That 5-pack of fantasy books. Probably that's about it. The 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah, you lost me when you said books.
Yeah. Here comes the intellect.
Was there a movie?
Yes,
I know there
actually.
was a movie.
Yeah.
I know.
What was it? Behind the Green Closet? No, wait. The
Behind
Lion,
the
the
green
Witch.
door.
Behind the
Oh,
Green
oh,
Wardrobe.
the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah, the Lion, the Witch, and the Hoarder. Horse Robe. Yeah. I read those books in like 6th, 7th grade. They were great.
Yeah, I don't know what you're
How
talking
about
about.
Shel Silverstein?
Yeah,
Where the sidewalk ends, falling up. No,
um,
you you didn't have teachers who would read to you.
um,
That's
so
unfortunate.
in this podcast, I'm kind of the redneck.
Yeah, technically,
I am. I'm kind of the redneck.
I never thought I'd be the cosmopolitan one in the group. That's crazy.
Well, eh,
As my dad told me,
you
being
know,
from a cosmopolitan city, I'm like, what? That sounds
I don't.
fancy.
I don't read Cosmo.
Yeah. Oh,
Picture
Jesus.
books. Oh,
Uh,
so let's because segues are for kids and for mall cops. Um,
there you go.
saw Ghostbusters on Friday.
Ghostbusters. All right. So, little backstory. Ghostbusters. Original movie came out in 1986. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Matthew Dixon and I rode our bikes to, I don't know, probably 5 miles away. Did not have bike locks, but we were going to watch Ghostbusters. We stole quarters out of his dad's quarter jar and we rode our bikes. We watched it, got back by 5:30 for dinner. My parents had no idea because I wasn't allowed to go that far. Then I had to act like I didn't see it for like a year and a half. And it was great. So
Dude,
tell me
I
about it.
well, no, just go back to the original one. It's just so, and we've joked around about Sasquatch a lot, but I'm into ghosts. I love that all that kind of stuff. We used to have a group when I was a little kid. We swore that there was something in this my friend's backyard, and we'd have a bunch of us. And I mean, we were young, we were really young. I mean, this is before Ghostbusters, because Ghostbusters came out in '86. I was 12. I saw it in the theaters and just fell in love with the idea of there
The
being.
phantasms.
I loved it. So anyway, the second one was terrible. The second Ghostbusters was just cheesy and terrible. The Woman Ghostbusters movie was one of the worst written movies that just punched you in the face. Hey, women can do the same thing that men can do. Just punched you in the face. Just
The last. Okay, I never
Oh
saw it.
well, and it's the same with the Charlie's Angels movie that what's her face wrote, the newer one. The first two were awesome. Then they
Yeah.
brought out this other one with no star power. Oh, it's because men are sexist. No, men want to see people they know, and the writing was terrible. So anyway, and Chris Helmsworth was unbelievable in the Chick Ghostbusters. He was hysterical. He was awesome, and he was very funny. So anyway, the story on this, and I'm not going to give anything away. Obviously, I don't want to do that. But it's like the vibe is, and they say it in the commercial, is that Egon died. His daughter and granddaughter and grandson inherited the house
Okay.
that he lived in, and then so the kids are involved. Paul Rudd's in it. He actually was pretty decent. I usually don't like him very much. He kind of annoys the shit out of me.
Okay.
Uh, Almost all the original Ghostbuster, there's cameos and stuff. I mean, you went on IMDb and it'll tell you this. Um, but it was done really well. I don't know if you like Stranger Things. I don't, because I fucking hate kids. So I don't like watching things with kids in it. But it was a Stranger Things meets old Ghostbusters intertwined. Really good story, really well written, and I cried. So it was pretty cool. Oh, you have to see, there are TikTok videos all over the place. Guys coming out of Ghostbusters, our age, maybe a little bit younger too.
Yeah.
Fucking tears coming down because you weren't expecting what happens to happen, and it was like fucked. And in fact, Jimmy Golden Dick, you know who I'm talking
Oh yeah,
about?
yeah. The
Okay,
Reddit guy, the mayor.
what for mayor? No,
You mean Golden Dick?
yeah, James Golden Dick, who used to work for McDonald's. Oh, he still works for McDonald's. Internet.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. I thought it was a character in the in the movie.
Uh,
I was like,
so he said to me, he goes, "Hey, I saw on Facebook you saw it." He goes, "Dude, I was tears are rolling down my cheek." He was telling me, I'm like, dude, the
wow.
tug at the heartstrings. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it. Definitely set up for a possibility of a part two. I really hope they do. Um, but it was done well. I enjoyed it a lot. And we went. My wife and I were like hanging out on Friday. I'm like, hey, Ghostbusters came out today or last night or whatever. She's like, oh, I want to see that. I said, me too. So we went to the theater and went and saw it. Saturday, we see Jungle Cruise. Have you watched Jungle Cruise yet on Disney?
I haven't seen any movie forever.
Oh, you don't. You're not a movie person anymore.
Uh, no, I'm not. It's not that I'm not a movie. My habits are different.
Oh,
I do a lot of stuff,
podcasting.
podcasts, websites, merch, a lot. Yeah.
Oh, nobody
No,
invites me on Saturdays, so I have nothing to do but jerk off and
I thought
go
you
to
played
the.
softball.
Nah, DBSM. Don't know what that means.
BDSM. 6'9" Vixen 6969. That is Amber. She was on Saturday show.
Must be nice, to be invited to Saturday shows.
Well, man,
So
I honestly I would have invited you. I didn't know that you had any
no,
free
I
time.
used to play. I used to play Friday nights, but I can't anymore because I blew my knee out. So
Oh, okay, awesome. Then yeah, you're invited. Absolutely, it's a shit show. It's a lot of fun.
and not funny.
She's not. No, she's a woman.
No, women are not funny. Absolutely not.
She's 82% vanilla. You guys would probably get along.
That sounds. I think I was at least 82% vanilla.
Yeah, at least. You're
But
like I kind of choke a bitch, but for the most part, she could choke me too. It's fine. Yeah, 84% vanilla. Yeah,
Sweet, sweet.
yeah,
But
the sweet kind of
so
vanilla.
that so we loved Ghostbusters. Saturday night we come back to the house. She's like, "Oh, I really want to watch Jungle Cruise." It's like, "All right, cool, we'll watch it." First thing, the only cool thing, there's this slow music in the beginning of it, right? They're showing the jungle, and it's fucking "Nothing Else Matters" by Metallica playing Muzak. I'm
Nice.
like, I'm like, Kel. She's like, "What?" I said, "It's fucking Metallica." And she goes, "It is?" I'm like, "And nothing else matters." She's like, "Holy shit, it is." So I was like, all right, maybe we misjudged. Let's watch. Dude, it's like somebody said, "Hey, we have this fucking ride. We have no ideas. But you know what did well? The Mummy and Pirates of the Caribbean. So let's take these two concepts and fucking squish them together and put the Rock in it and the chick, I can't think of her name. What is her name? She was just Mary Poppins. She was in A Quiet Place.
Emily
Fuck.
Blunt.
Yes, and she's a cutie. Like she's just a sweet cutie. But so you've seen The Mummy, right?
Yeah, of
With Brendan Fraser. Okay.
course.
So
Yeah,
so here's the characters. You ready?
I used to be married. I used to watch movies and TV all the time.
Okay. So here's a really smart British lady in the 1800s that's like an archaeologist, but she's not accepted because she's a woman
Ah,
and she's a man. I mean, in a man's world,
yeah.
and her brother is flamboyant and spends lots of money and has the slick back hair. I'm like, I've seen this movie. It's like Brendan Fraser is going to battle a mummy.
Yeah.
And then there are conquistadors that look just like pirates that are under a curse. Like, are you
No.
fucking kidding me?
Talk about movie tropes.
Right? So she turns around in the middle of watching this movie. She goes, "This is a bag of shit." And I said, "Yes, this is a bag of shit." Oh, was that up there? I didn't see it up there.
No, was not.
And where's the .com? You have to. It's got to be .com, brother.
Well, so this is being delivered, and it's for you.
Oh,
So, yeah, I had a mock-up made. I wanted to see if you liked it. I believe I found the devil character after I made this one, and I said I'm gonna order it. So,
dude, that devil character is fucking great. It really,
yeah.
like I said, when I first saw it, I was like, I fucking hate this. And then I was like, actually, this is pretty cool.
So
Oh, I like
the
it's like a Rob Zombie. The transplanted part is like Rob Zombie for some reason, like lettering or something. In my head, that's what screams.
yep. So yeah, I worked on the font until I found, like, to me that looks like devil font. It's good. It's
Yeah,
just like,
no, absolutely.
um, yeah, this is how I spend my time, doing stuff like this.
Not watching movies.
I think it was like $14 or something like that, and
Oh,
then um, yeah, that's the retro hat. Yeah, $13.95. It's not bad.
no.
And then I made some shelf help stickers. Just why not? And then
So who do you do the shelf help podcast with?
report problem. Me, myself, and I. So I used to do it by myself. I used to do it by myself, but the Saturday shows we're morphing that into
Oh,
Saturday Shelf Help Show.
okay.
It takes, like I said, it takes 6 hours or 5 hours of us goofing off.
Oh, could
Oh,
we get her to model stuff? I like that.
let's see. Let's see if I can
Don't
shut.
don't pull some shit like, hey, why are you saying that about my daughter or anything? Don't do
Oh
that,
no,
okay?
not to worry, not to worry.
Okay.
I know better.
Like, because then I'll be just like, can you give her my number? That's
Here you go.
I feel like she would look really good with elf ears. Or does she already have elf ears?
Maybe, I don't know.
Oof, that's nice. Like that. Him not some this little devil guy.
Yeah, the little devil.
Oh, by the way, I did not like the zip up hoodie.
No, that didn't turn out well. I meant to pull it off there.
Okay, because I saw that and I was like, ugh, she's cute.
White
Oof.
glossy mug. Oh, Dork Squad. And then I made a bunch of
So why
posters.
isn't .com involved? Did I lose you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I have some stuff loaded as background and then some stuff as overlay. So I have to shut us off to get a background picture up.
Oh, gotcha.
Let's see. Canvas. Here we go. I'll put these in overlay. So, what was your question?
How come .com isn't in there?
Oh, because you haven't decided if you want to. Well, you haven't told me yet, and or
Oh, okay.
cash apped me so I can buy it for you.
Okay, gotcha.
If you
Then
want to, if you want to do it,
so what are you doing tomorrow night? Come and hang out and be a human being.
come hang out and be a human being. What is that?
Means like be out in public and not
Oh,
behind a desk with a microphone.
yeah, I might be able to do that.
Do you know where? How are you? What part of town do you live in?
Midtown,
Oh, so do
close to downtown, close
you
to
know where
everything.
Encore is on Speedway?
I don't.
DV8. Who dat? I like the pink hair though. That's a good look. It
Uh,
used to be DV8,
oh yeah,
or
okay, on Speedway.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know where that is.
I'm gonna meet Nicole at Grillers like around
That's what she said.
and, and get a beer, and then 7 o'clock the show and it's free.
Wait, there we go.
How many wives would that make?
How many what?
Nothing. I was just reading.
Wives?
Yeah,
What were you reading?
the chat.
Oh, I wasn't reading chat. My bad. I could put chat overlay on the screen, and then I can see what she's saying moving forward. Yeah, because I don't have it up. I've got all this extra production work that I'm doing in the background. Obviously,
Right.
that's really important, and by really important, I mean it's not at all important. What is that? So much stuff. This is one of my favorite backgrounds because it's
I can't
me,
see it though, where our picture is in the way.
motherfucker.
To get some sun.
Hmm?
I would have told that guy to get some sun.
It was I was washed out on purpose. It was the
The
light that
light.
I was using. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Um,
You
I,
look a little. You look a little demonic in that. I like that. I'm a big fan.
yeah, yeah. And actually, on the full picture, you can see it. It's a really cool effect because I have this mic,
Right.
the classic,
Right. The rockabilly mic.
um, and then I've got the light shining up underneath, so it's really bright if you want it to be. And then with the microphone, um, it reflected like see, got a good I don't know, it's fucking bright, but it's got a reflection and the beams of light are coming up. You can kind of see them on the side of the picture. And I was actually impressed. Like this was one of my narcissist days where I was like, I'm gonna take some pictures for the show and for the promo stuff, and then that some of them came out like I was like that turned out artistic. I had no idea I can do that. I was excited.
Oh, I'm glad you were excited. That's good. Should be excited.
Your mom,
Ah,
your mom should be excited. So yeah. Anyway, I bought that hat for you, so I will give it to you as soon as it comes in.
awesome.
Uh, it's a cool trucker hat. I know you like that.
Cool. Yeah, when you said yeah, we're gonna do the podcast, I was like, shit, gotta go in the truck and get my hat. Because I wasn't wearing my hat. I'm like, I can't be on a podcast without the hat. Are you kidding me?
Right, right. Well, what would people say?
Oh shit.
What people?
What people?
Maybe if we
Amber. It's
didn't.
very important. Amber sees me in my hat all the time.
Yes.
Super important. Apparently you don't love her though.
What? He doesn't love me enough to pay attention to chat. Oh no, I'm. Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, I guess I don't love you enough. I was gonna argue, but
That's the best way to answer.
you're
That's the
entitled.
best. It is the best way to answer. Absolutely. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, yeah. That must be it.
Oh, dude, the little devil, he's just fucking awesome.
So there's your little devil, and then that would be embroidered.
So, do you? How much prep do you do for the shelf help? Is that?
I have I have like resources ready to go.
What are
I
your
tend
topics? Do you always have topics ready?
I haven't been I have not been picking topics to go over primarily, um, because part of me wants to just honor the camaraderie of the show,
Okay.
and it's also like wrangling fucking cats a lot of times. I mean, you get that many if you get 3 or 4 people going.
Well, I
It's
mean, but that's the reason why you don't get on topic for 5 hours, though.
That's true. That's true. So I think it would behoove me, since it's content that's to me important. I mean, it's what's changed my life. And yeah, instead of waiting until 2 o'clock in the morning after you've looked at hooker websites and God knows what else. Instead, oh, I like this one. I thought it was pretty cool.
So, so do you really think then not that I'm telling you what to do. I'm spitballing.
Yeah.
Do you really think that you should combine them then? Maybe they should be separate shows, especially if it means that much to you.
Um, I think well the idea is that coming together as a community of like-minded people, and sharing your experiences and sharing ideas,
Okay.
um, to me has more value.
Okay, that's fair.
So it's just a matter of me actually forcing some structure
Okay.
and then shutting people off if I need to.
Well, there's
Um,
nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with chaos. It's just, but I think, and I could be totally wrong on this, right? Because I don't know your friends that well or anything. But I think if people understand that a particular topic is to be discussed and how important that would be to you, I think people would put also some effort and be less chaos and
right,
maybe and I think it would be super interesting, like you said, to you bringing like-minded people together. Everybody's experiences are different though, so it'd be great to
right.
hear people's experiences. I love, dude. I am into podcasts so much now, and it's funny because I talk so fucking much, you know that. But I really like sitting back and listening like-minded people.
Yeah,
So I think you're not wrong with that. I think we all like to be in our bubble.
yeah.
But I love to listen, and
Some
I
people
would
call it confirmation bias, but it's tribal though. That's really what it is.
absolutely. But at the same point, though, right? And I think it's the responsibility of the person who's maybe in charge of the podcast to play devil's advocate sometimes. Devil's advocate. Um,
Mm,
to take or at least to uh,
transsexual devil.
transplanted devil.
Oh, transmission, yeah.
But yeah, to listen to a different point of view or to have a guest on that isn't like minded and have that
Yeah.
discussion, I find that fascinating. But we are getting more and more. The gap is increasing more and more with the common sense fact group over here and the passionate. Um, I hate to use the word woke, but it really is over here. And I don't think any of them will ever meet in the middle. There is, but I like to hear, I hate to say it, like to hear what the enemy thinks, but you know what I mean. I like to hear
Yeah.
the other point of view so you can understand, because if you just shut somebody down, there's no way you can change their mind. But if you understand what makes them think the way they do, maybe you can discuss the facts about that. You hope anyway, right? But I don't know. But it has turned so tribal. Absolutely. And do you think it's 100% social media's fault?
I think I think social media and traditional media are both being used by politicians and by the people that are in each other's pockets. But those who have an agenda, it's whatever's incendiary is going to grab people's attention. So
But the numbers don't prove it, right? The
that's
number of viewers that Don Lemon has on an evening um, is less than quarter million people.
yeah,
Joe Rogan does a podcast, 11 to 12 million people listen to the podcast.
right.
So they have to be losing money. The money has to be being lost hand over fist. It has to be.
Yeah, I mean, if Don Lemon's one of the biggest figureheads on CNN,
Right.
and his audience share is a quarter million, it's 1%. It's less than 1%.
Right.
No, is that 1%? Yeah, it's 1%. Yeah.
Well, where do you use it? Using a base of a 300 million
Yeah,
or
so let's say adults,
yeah,
250 million adults.
yeah,
You got 1% of the share.
right,
It's nothing.
right,
Yeah, you're right. Joe Rogan has an impact that's bigger than that. But you also think, like, if 250,000 people watch it, and then they tell whoever, let's say 20 people. So it has that ripple effect. And when people, it's just like in customer service, they'll tell you if somebody is satisfied with your service and what you do, they're going to tell a couple of people. They may tell one or two. But if they're dissatisfied, they'll tell 25.
right. So
So
do you think, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but you just made a
that's
great
fine.
point about 250,000. Do you think, because you and I both listen to Rogan, right? So somebody who watches Don Lemon, if they're going to tell somebody else who's woke, maybe they don't watch Don Lemon, but all the same people that think maybe the way we do already watch Joe Rogan. So is it not having that big of an impact because you're preaching to the choir? The choir has already heard this song, right? And do you think that may play a role? I'm just the money. So everything is money. Everything
Mhm.
is money. You follow
Yeah,
the money all the time. So it blows my. Why is the View still on the air? They have
yeah.
they have they have no viewership at all.
So you got the morning market share, which is a dying breed, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Unemployed housewives is not a huge segment of the population any longer, and most of them are widows now, and you know they're my mom's age. You got you've got that's your base for the most part. Who else is watching it?
Right.
Um, I don't know,
Yeah, it blows my
but
mind. It just
that
there's
demographic though does spend money. We know that
yeah,
women spend more money than men do,
right.
um, because they're not funny, so they have to buy clothes.
They got to make up for their lack of sense of humor
Amber, why do women wear makeup and perfume?
to attract men.
Because they're
I know
ugly
I'm
and
not Amber.
they're ugly and they stink.
Oh, it's a good answer. Good answer. Because they're fake.
I like they're ugly and they stink. That's like a
Yeah, that is good.
chauvinist joke.
They're ugly and they stink. That is outstanding. There I was being like, oh, to get men.
Right. Yeah. Hey, mister. Sure is dark out here in the woods. It's really scary. Do you know that joke?
No.
Oh, well, how do you think I feel, kid? I'm gonna have to walk home alone. Did you get it?
Yeah, because he was going to kill the kid.
That's a horrible joke. Do you remember Jackie the Joke Man Martling
Oh,
from
of course.
Howard Stern? I got his book, his joke book, and in his joke book, he said, "This is the worst joke that I know. Like it's the worst joke." And I think when I read it, my Hunter was little. He was like a couple years old, and so I'm like, new dad, and I read that joke, and it horrified me. It horrified me because when your kids are little, especially, your sensitivity to bad things happening to them is really high.
Oh,
So I read that joke, and I was like, part of me laughed, and then part of me was like, oh, I was like, God, like, and I was very conflicted. I was like, ha, like it's a great it's a great joke from a structure standpoint.
right.
But I was just like, oh my God, it's a horrible. Now I understood why he said this is the worst joke that I know.
Sure.
Is you're going to laugh because of the premise. The
Right.
punch is shocking. And then you think that that kid is going to get molested and killed. That's horrific.
Right. I'm glad you threw in the molested part in there.
Well,
It should have been, because how do you think I feel? I'm going to be spent and I got to walk home alone.
Why? Well, why would you be taking the kid to the woods?
I thought it was just to kill him, but okay.
A horrible joke. But a
So
great joke.
it's funny that
It's
you
horrible.
say, you were just saying, especially as a new parent, my biggest fear, and this sounds so stupid, my biggest fear that we would get into a car wreck, right? Everybody would be buckled in. The kids would, and my wife wouldn't be there, but the kids were there. They turn the car over. I get killed. We're in the middle of nowhere, and the kids are still alive, and they're young. That was a huge fear, and I don't know where that came. Oh, you know what it was?
What?
What's the Ricky Schroeder movie when we were little kids? The Yearling? No, the oh, fuck.
Maybe The Yearling.
Its parents are in an RV and they all get killed.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's where it came from.
Ricky.
Well, now it's Rick Schroeder. He wants to be taken seriously.
Movies.
I think it was called The Yearling.
We got The Champ, The Lost Battalion. No, that was 79, 80. The Earthling.
Really?
Yeah. Let me see.
Earthling. Huh.
Let's see. Diagnosed with terminal form of cancer, Patrick Foley has returned to his native Australia to die in peace in the quiet wilderness. Simple plan is complicated, however, when he meets Sean Daly, a young boy who has just lost his parents in an accident, takes him under his wing. Located far from civilization, Patrick continues on his mission, but decides to teach Sean the skills he'll need to survive.
So the
after his mentor
Earthling?
is dead. Yeah, The Earthling, 1980.
I just did that name. I don't know why Yearling was in my head, but okay.
Who was in the Yearling?
But that's the story. So I remember it was in Australia too. I remember that.
The Yearling, it's about a kid who has a doe or a fawn. A fawn? What's a deer?
Is he in that movie too?
No.
Okay. Then it was an Earthling.
Who is this? Family drama. Gregory Peck, Jane Wyman, Jody, Claude Jarman Jr., 1946.
No, that wasn't what I was thinking of. Okay. But that's the name of the movie. Okay. So, but anyway, yeah, that was a fear I had. It was such a strange fear.
as protector of your kids, it makes sense. You know, they're little. You want to do anything you can to make sure they're okay. And if you're the sort of parent who uh, has those feelings, then, and not all do, like 60% or higher of parents don't have that parenting gene. They don't have that compassion.
Really?
They don't specifically have what we would think love is for your kids. It's a large amount. I didn't know that until I was living with my buddy, the doctor, for like the first year after I split, and he would tell me, he goes, "You're like, you've always been incredible with the kids." I mean, he'd known them since they were tiny. But he's like, "You've
But
always
he
been."
said to you, you can't walk in the woods in the dark anymore
Yeah,
with
yeah.
them
Just don't take the neighbor boy into the woods at
again.
sundown. He's gonna get scared. So, but yeah, he would tell me, he's like, I don't even like kids, but I like your kids because they're well behaved and they're cute and they're funny, and you parent them well. And he said, it's rare. He goes, I know more people than not that don't like being parents. They don't particularly like their kids, and they don't have it in them. And he goes, that's why I didn't have kids, because I know that I'm too selfish to love anything more than a dog.
Right.
And he's like, so I chose not to have kids because it's not. I've never pictured it, never wanted it. And he's like, read the psychology of human nature, and he's like, more than half of the parents out there don't love their kids the way that you do. And he goes, it's really interesting to watch because you're very passionate about, being a dad and teaching them, and I was like, that's crazy. And I said, so do you think that this models like the propensity for trait neuroticism? And I said, because interestingly enough, it's about a 50-50 split or so. And they also tend to be liberal. They tend to be,
They don't.
he was like, makes sense to me. If you're neurotic and you're prone to anxiety and dread and fear,
Right.
your children are not going to bring out the best in you.
Right.
He goes, that if you're wired for introversion, kids are extroverted even when they become introverts when they get older.
Right.
He's like, they're just naturally exploring and everything. Because can you imagine if you just want to withdraw
Oh my God,
and
that'd be torturous, dude.
you're constantly pulled out of your shell?
Right.
He's like, you would resent your kids. And it wasn't until years later with Jordan Peterson, and he put it in his first 12 rules. Don't let your children do things that will make you hate them.
Right.
That was one of his rules. And he's just very clear about it. He's like, children are hard to love. They are. Like, you need everything tethering you to them. He goes, so if you don't parent them correctly and you don't create those boundaries and you don't make them into kind people that other kids want to play with, you are going to screw them up. Because first off, if you don't have them socialized by the time they're 4 years old, their chances of making it in life are slim to none.
Right.
They're going to be institutionalized or on drugs or alcoholics or whatever. And this again is all years of psychology and tracking all the people who are all in these bad spots. And you go like, yeah, did they have bad childhoods? What was missing?
Right.
Go back and correlate the data. And he's like, they're going to be challenging. He goes, people don't just they don't love their kids the way that you think they do.
Right.
He goes, but it's more likely the people reading his book who would have a traditional, libertarian conservative kind of point of view on things would be shocked to hear that.
Yeah, that does surprise me. It does
If you're
surprise
high
me.
in conscientiousness, then you're going to more likely have that connection. because
I
if
also
you
I also feel that parents who have their kids later in life are not as
more,
good parents. They
oh,
don't feel that way. I think number one, they don't have the energy. They absolutely do not have the energy for the fight. They don't. And it is a fight. It is
yeah,
absolutely a fight.
absolutely.
Um, I watched it when I coached football, and I could tell by the way a kid acted what age range was in.
Really?
I could absolutely tell. And how they reacted to the way I coached. I was like, "Are you his grandfather?" No, I'm his father. Oh, got it,
Oh,
got it. Yeah, I understand it already.
so they were more intolerant of like aggressive, you know,
Correct.
the shit you have to do to get a kid's attention,
When you
which is shake
when
them, and then when they
well, not
cry,
not
slap them upside the head. But you know
not
what I mean?
not physically,
Figuratively, you have
not
to get
right,
their
not
attention.
physically. Well,
You
what
have to.
I used to, at one point, I had 32 6-year-olds playing football for me. You don't think that you have to be fucking loud and insane,
Oh yeah.
so they pay attention. And yeah, but it would blow my mind. You could tell, you could absolutely tell the age of when these people had kids, and it was like, whoa,
That's
okay,
interesting.
oh, huge, huge difference. Because also, younger parents may not have the answers, but they're really eager to hear ideas about, oh, this is what you can do, or this is what older people don't have the capacity. The receptors are not open. They're just not. They've already lived. They've already had their life. They think they have the life experience. And
So they're more regimented. They're like, I've already figured it out. Like
yeah,
this is who I am.
absolutely.
This is
And they
how I
don't.
do.
And the worst part is the combination of not having the energy for the fight, for the battle, because it
Mm,
is. I mean, without being dramatic, it is the
it is.
battle for your child's soul. It
Yeah.
really is.
You literally you're taking their animal impulses, and then as their hormones change and pump into their body,
Correct.
they are triggered to explore and
And
test
react.
and yeah,
Correct.
like get out there and like figure out why do I feel the way I do, and then how do I influence the world around me when I do it, and how does that make me feel also.
Right.
Their little caveman
Absolutely.
brains are just going fucking ape shit, and then God
Right. And
forbid
if you're not there to guide and to hit them with a stick on the fucking head when they don't do it the
they
right
will
way.
die.
Yeah.
The kid they're
Yeah. No, dude.
But
Absolutely.
kids will, to their own detriment, they will act in such a way that will end their
Absolutely.
lives.
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
Hunter was one of those. Hunter was
it's
insane.
it's fascinating to me especially the lack of energy for the fight, because you got to have it. You got to fucking be able to go toe for toe, with them. You have to be. Uh,
This is why I'd say I'd have more kids now. I'm ridiculous, but my level of energy is also ridiculous.
right.
Um,
Yeah, but you have to think about that you're going to have to maintain that though for the next 14, 15 years.
right.
That's that's it's definitely not normal.
The
I mean,
mortality of the men in my family is like very young.
well then,
So if I'm gonna peak out at like 65 and be done, or 59,
right.
59, 63. I'm good. I can do it. I'll just leave somebody. No, I gotta get them right to like 14 and then
Yeah.
13, 14, and I'll be dead.
14, 15 is when, especially boys, 14, 15. Girls,
9,
13,
10,
14.
12. Little less crazy.
Yeah. But the energy, it's just I really believe that. And I only say that because I witnessed it so many times. Oh my goodness, so many times. Listen, I didn't I had kids before I ever had a career. Didn't finish my education because of it. I I just that's the choice I made. The moment I got the phone call was the moment that I now was not the most important person in the world.
Right.
That I made that decision in a microsecond. Boom. That was it. And made every decision from that point on to bet shit. I moved to this fucking shithole.
Yeah.
I moved to Tucson so I could raise kids in a kid centric area instead
Yeah.
of worrying about other things. And I mean, I'm glad I did for my kids. You know, my kids are 26 and 22, and I love my kids. I love hanging out with them. Now I can be their friend. Now
Yeah.
it's okay to be a friend. That was the other
Right.
thing. I was not their friend. Absolutely not. Did I enjoy doing things with them? Sure. But I
Yeah.
was not their friend. I was their
Yeah.
father. So,
As it
but
should be.
yeah, well,
As it should be. If you're negotiating everything with your kids when they're
fuck,
little, you've already lost.
fuck that.
Because if you don't have a point of view, and here's the thing, and I tell my kids, and as they got older, I would explain to them, I'm still 12 years old in my head. I can't believe anyone let me do this. I took I took mushrooms in the hot tub on a day off once, and nobody was there, and I had the biggest crisis of conscience in the world because it took all the filters off, and I started thinking like, why am I in this hot tub? And why do I have this house? Who let me have the house? That's huge. I got to pay the water bill. This all hinges on me getting up and going to do something, and I just proved that I can make the wrong choice because I'm sitting here tripping balls in the hot tub having a panic attack because
Right.
and I go, I'm trailer trash. I'm I'm trash. I'm not a good person. No. What and I was like, what is the difference between me here now and me in a trailer on government money smoking crack? And I'm like, the difference is $1,000 a month. Like I was like, what's the difference? It's not much. It's not much. There, but for the grace of God go I, right? And then I
Right.
start thinking like, how have I been able to fool people this long? Because it's fake. I'm not qualified. I shouldn't have kids. I obviously make bad choices. If left to my own device, I'm going to take mushrooms and drink whiskey and then have a pet.
I have those moments all the time, dude.
I was like shitting myself. I'm just like, huh. I wound up in a fetal position under like 5 blankets, rocking myself back and forth and crying.
I, I
Like,
did.
make it go away.
It
Make it
is
go
too
away.
funny. It is too
Lisa comes home.
funny.
She's like, "How was your day?" And I'm like, "Awful." She's like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "I did mushrooms." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because I had them." Because somebody was like, "How much do you want?" I was like, "I don't know. How much do I need?" She said, uh, I said, "Well, how much does it cost?" And she was like, $40 for a quarter. I was like, "I'll take 4 quarters." I couldn't even. I didn't even think like what it was. Like, give me an ounce of mushrooms. No, I had to think like I need 4 quarters of mushrooms because I'll spend $160.
Dude,
I just had a lot.
all the time. I
Just
think that all of a sudden I'm gonna wake up, right, and it'll be like, oh, I knew that was a dream. There's no way that first of all that woman was gonna marry me. There's no
yeah,
way I have children. There is no way any of this is real. There's no.
right.
You said the best. You still have a 12-year-old brain. Dude, I feel it all the time. Do you
Yeah,
know I saw there was an ad
we're making it up as we go.
yeah, on
Not even well.
Walmart.com, right? There was an ad for Soundwave, the transformer,
Yep.
right? Right? Right. And you know who I'm talking about, right? The
Yeah.
cassette player one.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, I wonder how much that is. I'd really like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, $130. What the fuck? I'm like, forget it. But
I
I,
have I
but
have a couple I have a couple boxes of Transformers, and 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago, at the time that I put a post on Facebook the other day, there was a repost from 8 years ago where I said, I'm sitting here planning my podcast because 17 years ago, I got out of Rock Talk Radio. I said I would wait until I turned 40 and I actually had enough life experience to have an opinion about something, because a 24-year-old does not have enough of an opinion.
No,
Trust me.
we're
I mean,
jacked on
you got like
testosterone
Charlie
anyway.
Kirk, and you got some of those phenoms who are young and have a developed point of view, but I did not. So I posted that, and I'm like, it's coming up. I was going to call it MLC Cast, which is midlife crisis. Because a couple other things happened. I didn't start the podcast. Obviously, wasn't ready, and I didn't have enough trauma in my life to have a perspective. Because that's what I realized. Having the going through trauma, um, and the way things went, it ended badly, as I always say. Things end badly, otherwise they wouldn't end.
Right.
But that trauma forced me to have to redefine myself, and have to, or not redefine, to define myself for the first time in my life. I had to go. If I don't have a goal, if I don't have a mission, if I don't have a purpose, I'm not going to make it. I need some. I need direction, and I realized I had never had direction in my life. I had talent, and that talent allowed me to get by. That was completely different.
I think
It's
about that
completely
all the
different.
time, dude. How old is your youngest?
14.
Okay. Wait till they're 20. And then that's your next crisis because you no longer have children. Then you really
No,
have
I'm
to.
having more kids.
No, no more kids. No more kids. But all of a sudden you're like, fuck. Um so the mission was to get him through high school, get him into college, have
Right.
him move out. Fuck, that's all done.
Right. Hadn't planned past that. They
I think
survived.
I'd be
They
alive,
got this far.
dude. I honestly think I'd be alive. I'm like, um,
You figure like you're gonna
now
wind
what?
up in jail or dead. Yeah, you're like, I don't understand. I
I
didn't think I
figured
was
as
gonna make it.
much.
I figured I would have burned out or faded away, but here I am, still going through it.
I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay, next.
Well, and that was my that
But
my
uh,
epiphany in the
um,
last 2 years was that I survived the first 2 years. I didn't expect to, and I didn't want to, because I was so uh, scared. I was scared. I was like, I'm never gonna figure out what I'm supposed to do with my life. I'm never gonna figure out anything. I was like, I don't care anymore. I don't care about a career. I don't care about shit. What I care about is, can I pay the bills? And that's it. If I got to go sweep at Costco and move boxes, and if I can still pay my
right,
bills, I will do that. It was like everything changed. Right around 40, though, that was my big adjustment. So I'd been listening to political talk radio since I was 13, and that's when I decided I wanted to get into radio. I Around 12 ish, I stopped playing with toys. I even like packed up some childhood stuff, my stuffed animal, gave it to my mom. And I remember feeling like I was going to cry, but I'm like, let's put it away. Um, I remember giving up those things. And I remember clearly that delineation between me thinking like, I have to grow up now. And I took it seriously. And I became, even though I'm a goofy guy, I like to make people laugh, I became very serious minded of myself. And I was like, put away childish things. There's a big world out there. There's a lot of serious shit going on. And I started only reading history, everything nonfiction. And I still prefer nonfiction by far. Um, my brain just does better with, am I learning something and am I growing? Otherwise, I'm not going to spend my time doing something. If I'm not learning something, I don't want to do it. But I was so disenfranchised with Barack and his presidency, and I thought that America was falling apart then. No, guys, that was just the beginning. That was nothing. That was cake. I was so tired of hearing, and it wasn't that I
That was
was
the
mad
first
about
act.
Barack's. It wasn't that I was pissed at him specifically. I didn't like the narrative that if he forced. I didn't like all the infighting and the bullshit. I thought it was bad back then. It was not. Um, I didn't like the fact that the winning side, as opposed to how they were when Clinton got elected, the winning side this time around was smug and dickish. You know, I didn't like people posting on social media. If you're a fan of George Bush, and you can unfriend me. You know, I was like, I was irritated then
Right.
because I'm like this swing. I'm like, oh, here we go. I felt it. I said, here we go. Oh, he got reelected. Great. Here we go. It's gonna the bullshit's gonna keep going because I thought people were polarized then, and I hit 40, and I said, you know what? I stopped listening to rock music. I was primarily just rock, metal. I stopped. I stopped at music. I stopped listening to talk radio. I I went and bought toys. I hadn't had toys since I was 12. And I remember I was taking some of Hunter's toys. He never played with toys. That kid's been an intellectual his entire life. Um, don't know where he got that from. Probably mom. I was throwing away some of his toys because he'd never played with them, and I found a couple of Transformers. I didn't even remember buying them. I like kind of like, where did these come from? At least like we bought them for Christmas like 2 years ago. I'm like, oh, weird. And instead of throwing them away, one was a motorcycle, purple motorcycle. One was a car. I don't remember who they were. And I put them on my end table. And then when we were watching Grey's Anatomy and every other show that emasculated me, because it was easier to concede than to negotiate. As I was getting drunk with my wife, which was fun, get drunk and screw and whatever, it was fun. But doing the routine things, I started fidgeting with the transformer, and I was like, oh, I was like, this is really interesting. I'm like, I said, just think, Lisa, there's an engineer who made this. I said, do you think they make the robot and then they reverse engineer it into the motorcycle? They make the motorcycle, and then I'm like, how do they do it? I mean, you got to think like someone had to make all the hinges. I said, this is crazy. This is really kind of a piece of art. I'm like, mechanically, it's impressive because look, when you put it all back together, it's perfect. Whatever it's supposed to be,
Right.
perfect motorcycle. And she's a, why is it that even you can't even play with a toy without analyzing it? I'm like, why don't you get a job? Why don't you clean the house? I don't know. Why do I have to fold the sheets and towels your way? Exactly, or they're wrong. But the reality is, you won't even
It
take
says that we're having
clothes out of
some
the basket
stream
for 2
issues.
weeks, right? I'm like, so when you feel like we should do it, it has to be your way, but you'll step over it for a month. I pick it up and I start putting it away. I have to do it your way. 1,000 concessions. That part I still agree with, though. I'll fold laundry however the woman wants it. Because
Hey, as long as they admit they're funny.
It's not going to suck itself in. I mean,
yeah. Shit, if I could do that, I would stay single.
Yeah, that'd be a different show. So I started playing with toys, and then I stopped. I started listening to like country music, NPR, anything that was just kind of like low stress, like cool. It was weird because I listened to NPR because I just got tired of music after a while, and it didn't bother me either. It was just like whatever. You do an expose on coffee bean growers in Colombia, and you get to talk very mellow. So next on NPR, the coffee bean growers in Bolivia and the struggles with the local cartel. Next, I'd be like, damn, it's so soothing. This is so much better. And probably for like, I don't know, maybe 3 years ish, probably the next 3 years, every time we'd go to a store, I would go check out the toy section. Ooh. And the kids would laugh. They're like, I can't believe dad plays with more toys than we do. And I was like, fuck you guys. I didn't play with toys much. I mean, I did until I was 10. I'm like, I'm not going to solve the world's problems myself. This was my perspective. It's not that bad because you know what? You got people like my spouse who she would not pay attention to any of that shit, and the world kept turning, kept spinning. We lived. We had food on the table. We were raising our kids, and it would be weird because I would have all this nervous energy about the shit that I couldn't control, and I would be so upset over the fact that my guy didn't get elected. And I'm like, why am I wasting all this energy if everyone else has got their head in the fucking sand too, and there's just a small subsection of people who really give a shit? Do I need to give that much of a shit? Well, this person hasn't given a shit her entire life.
Right.
She's not happy either. Like we all choose how we're going to suffer in life.
Right.
As human
It,
creatures, we
it,
will choose how we suffer. I said, you know
so
what? If I'm going to suffer anyways, I might as well do something that's more fun.
right. So let me ask you a question. You brought up the music and the you used to listen to rock and metal, and then
Yeah.
you went to the lighter, like
Country,
the country and
pop
whatever.
stuff, stuff that was a little more saccharine, a little more.
So I used to try when I was in my 20s and I worked in the commodities market. I worked on Wall Street. I used to try classical music,
Mm,
and I
love it.
found that it made me so much angrier. And I think what it did, what metal does for me is it's a release, and I think it keeps me as sane as John can possibly be sane. Where
Yeah.
the lighter stuff, it doesn't, and maybe it's because it allows more. I don't know, thinking, and I don't know what it is, but I fucking can't listen to music like that because it has the opposite effect for me. It absolutely makes me so angry. And but metal music,
You need to out scream the voices in your head.
maybe that's what it is. It drowns it. Maybe it drowns it, right? And but yeah, no, it's funny. I'm the opposite where that doesn't help me at all. It's terrible. And people, it's funny. My son, when his 21st birthday, so a couple years ago, we're playing beer. We turned our house into basically a frat house. We had beer pong. We had battle shot. We had everybody. I mean, it's all his friends, our family, whatever. Well, he takes over the music. It's birthday, so I get it. So I don't say anything, and he starts putting rap on and music that I just don't like. Well, next thing you know, I'm outside by myself, sitting there drinking a beer, smoking a cigar or whatever. My daughter comes out, gets in my face because she was hammered, and she goes, "What are you doing out here?" I said, "Well, Zach's playing his music, and I don't like that kind of music." Well, it's his birthday, and you should be inside. And I said to her very calmly, "You're gonna turn around and you're gonna walk back into the fucking house right now." And she goes, "Well, you're being antisocial." I said, "He's playing music that I don't like. I'm not saying anything to him because it's his birthday and he's playing beer pong and stuff. I'm out here on my stupid little iPhone's got Pandora on and I'm listening to fucking Disturbed and it's just like, "Wah!" And I'm relaxed. I'm calm. I'm like, "Oh, look at the beautiful stars." I'm like, it's just, I am built in a very different way. And I don't know what it is, but maybe you're right. It drowns the voices. It makes it so I can't think of the bad stuff or what the stressful stuff. Maybe it is that it's my escape, right? I guess maybe that's what it is. But yeah,
Yeah.
I've tried. I tried, like I said, classical. My dad had the works of everyone. Mozart, Beethoven. I mean, you name it, he had it. And I would listen to it, and I was like, "God, I want to fucking punch holes in the wall so bad." Just yeah, it's not my thing. It is
That's
definitely
interesting.
Yeah, it's not my thing. But yeah, I'll never forget. She was right in my face, and I'm like, I can't believe you're in my face. That's dangerous. What's wrong with you? But
Yeah, you're like,
where did I
not
go
gonna,
wrong as a parent?
it's not gonna go well for you, kid.
Yeah, too
You might
funny.
want to get out of my way.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Well, I'll go off and by myself and listen to a podcast, and the voices. Oh, I want to bring something up before, I know I'm not doing well with segues tonight, but my brain is
Segways
just
are for what?
kids and mall cops.
Kids and mall cops. That's a fact.
Yes. Um, uh, an experiment that I kind of have been doing because I've seen a lack of management in my company, where I am continually praising or, and I don't mean going over the top, but just recognizing people that do good work.
Yeah.
And I guess you call it kudos, but um, it's a two-way street. It makes you feel good as well,
Yeah.
right? And the reaction for people is amazing, but you do it in a natural way. You only do it if you mean it too. That's the other thing,
Yeah.
is that recognize somebody who's going above and beyond, or in fact they're doing their job really well. I think it's really important.
It
Um,
builds relationships, period.
absolutely. You
Period.
know,
If you recognize someone's behavior that is positive and contributes to
correct.
you, the world around you, they're
Correct.
more likely to continue that than not. If you only point out when they're doing things wrong,
Right.
then their brain
Right.
is going to pick the wrong thing.
Right.
It doesn't encourage positive growth. So
No.
100%, it's very important.
So I've been trying to do that, and it came natural. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to try an experiment today. It just came to, and once I started to do it, I was like, you know what? And these people don't report to me. Like I said, my job, I have 150 companies that report to me, not the people that are in my office. But intertwined with all the stuff that they do, and they support some of the stuff that I do. So I have
Yeah.
been continually um, giving little kudos, and it sounds silly, but it's not. And it really, and like I said, it's two-way street. Makes me feel good that, hey, you know what? I'm fucking recognizing somebody for doing a good job, and them hearing it, and you can hear their reaction, like, "Whoa, thank
Thanks.
you."
Yeah.
So I think
We don't get enough of it in the
no,
world. We really don't.
no,
If I read The Happiness Advantage by Sean Aker. It's about positive psychology. He does he has a really funny TED talk. Um, um, Hilarious. This guy's his routine is just crack you up, but it's just to get your attention to make you listen to him and then buy his book. Which made sense.
right,
He's a great commercial for his own stuff, but he said, the world always focuses on negativity. He said he
yep,
was at Harvard, and he said, like, you'd think that he walked into Harvard and he was like, holy crap, it looks like Hogwarts, like this is amazing. He's like, how could people be unhappy at Harvard? And he said, but then he goes, they're announcing over the PA, Wednesday is like date rape awareness night. Thursday is suicide prevention. Friday is teen pregnant, young pregnancy, whatever. He was like, everything around you is automatically focused on things that would make you unhappy, things that are negative.
right,
And it's cultural. It's where we're pandering without even knowing it to the negative, loud subsection of the people in our
correct,
environment. You see it all the time. I don't care about the 1.5%. I'm not. It's not that I don't care. It's that I don't. It's just that I don't care. It's not that I dislike. It's that I don't. I don't have care for it. I don't care about your cause. I don't care about your subject matter. I'm not interested in it. So I don't want to hear about it all the time. I shouldn't be 99% of the narrative.
correct.
I don't care, and you can't make me care.
No,
I can
well,
acknowledge it. I
but it's
can
also
acknowledge that you do.
they're doing it the wrong way to try to make you care too. And I don't even think that they honestly want you to care.
No, they just want division.
Correct.
Yes, they just need groups
You don't
to
want to
be
solve the
reconsider that.
problem. You just want to
No.
throw the problem in the perceived problem in
Correct.
my face.
Right.
That's what you want to
And,
do.
and call it my fault.
Right. No, I
Call
agree.
it my fault that there's something that I don't even realize is
Right.
important. Call me phobic because I don't love it. Weird.
Right. Right.
But the positive psychology I got from Sean Aker, I thought it was a really good perspective, was do things like every morning, like when you get to work, or have your employees write down 5 things that they're grateful for, and only one of them has to be about work. And they're going to start your day with that. And you start your day with it. What are 5 things? What are you grateful for? Remember what your gratitude is and why it exists, and then pick 5 people and acknowledge them for something that they did that is positive, that impacted you in a positive way. Acknowledge it. And so this was translated for work stuff. There was a small amount of that, but it was like, how do you get groups to, start thinking more positively? But
Right.
in your life, he's like, he'll make a decision because he hasn't been feeling like he has been of service. And he said, everybody wants to have a goal in life. You need to have. Here's the word I forgot earlier today. The only thing I like better than having a cause is having a noble cause. That's human nature. Humans need to have a cause. If you can have a noble cause, it's even better. But people will always have a cause. Figure out what their cause is, and then help them
So
find a noble cause.
I like your concept.
But
So the problem when you said that, the cynic in me punched me in the face and said, God, that's so fake. You're making people write things down. So premise. I totally get the premise, and I like the premise. There's got to be a more natural way to do that. I think discussion is a better way of doing it instead of writing down. It feels like an assignment culture, and I'd rather it be a question. I don't know if this is making sense because of the way in my head,
no, it does.
the way
But learning styles,
I think if
wasn't
you
as
tell
adept.
people, hey, I need you to.
12 years ago,
What do you mean?
12 years ago, I wasn't as knowledgeable of learning styles and, corporate training, and, that some people hate writing. Some people like it. So the point is to
Right.
express gratitude.
Right.
Express it. Think about it and express it in whatever form works for you.
Right.
Because you're right. If I make it a
Right.
task for someone like you who
Right.
doesn't like that task,
Well,
and when I was responsible
right.
for coaching you, I would not have asked you to do something that you would not like the method of doing it, because you would let me know that you did not
Right.
like the method. You would shit on my idea for the method, and then I'd have to back up and be like, let me come at this different. How can John process the idea? Because
Right.
he's like, I'm not writing shit down. I'm not in kindergarten class.
But
You
I
have a bad
I
attitude. This
love.
is why you need to have gratitude.
You're such a dick. But I do love the premise. I love the premise. So when I do a call every morning at 8:45, and the way that I get on the call is what's poppin' hotties. That's the first thing I say. And sometimes it's guys, sometimes it's girls. It doesn't matter. Like, what's poppin' hotties? And everybody laughs, and I go, hey, what'd you guys do last night? Talk to me about what you did last night. Nothing to do at work at first, and nothing, absolutely nothing. Let me hear about and dude, this is totally natural. It's not like I had a plan to do this. And I was like, hey, what'd you do last night? Or if it's Monday, what'd you do over the weekend? Did you guys have any fun? Did you see anything? I saw a movie, and I'll talk about the. And you get them loose. You get them. You get them. Okay. We're on the same. Okay. So what do you got to do today? I noticed. I just ran a report. We have a ton of open paperwork. I need you guys to complete like lunatics. You guys having any challenges? Talk to me about what you're seeing. because you're my eyes and ears. Without you guys, I have no idea what the hell's going on. And then we move on. But and it's natural. It's not.
Yeah.
There's a goal. There's always a goal, right? But I think there's a way to come at people that seems unbelievably natural because it is really. But you also show that you care. And I think, like you said before, people are more than willing to do stuff for you if you give them that positive reinforcement or that, hey, he gives a shit. Then
You become their cause at work.
right, and that's what you hope, right?
They're
You
already
hope,
trading time for money. How do you get them to spend their time in a way that's better for the company?
right?
The company's not going to be their cause, neither is the money.
No,
But you get them to believe in you and you get them to want to please you because you make them feel better about their life
right.
naturally. And I know you keep saying that because I know you're not a fake person. I know you're not going to do something that's not genuine. You're authentic. So I believe you that you're being authentic because you don't know how to not be.
But
You
I
know
feel sometimes when I speak, it's very salesy.
why do you think that?
Because if I heard somebody speak like I did, I would say they were full of shit. And to me, I wish it was. I wish that I could say things in a way with passion that I would get on board with. And maybe it's because it's coming from me that's maybe the reason why I'm feeling that way. But I kind of feel sometimes like, fuck, I sound like a goddamn used car salesman. I really do. And I don't
Why?
mean to.
Break that down for me though. Tell me what it is. Is it structure? Is it tone? Is it word choice? Is it like what is it?
I think
Um,
it's tone. I think it's tone more than anything else,
okay.
where I'll change my voice to be less intimidating
Hmm.
and more agreeable sounding. Is
Yeah.
that is it okay?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not stupid. We everybody sells. We sell at everything that we do. We sell
And
absolutely.
this is all over the phone, yes? Or is it
Video, video.
okay? So you have plenty of experience doing phone sales, doing phone service, doing phone anything.
Right,
It's a medium that's not everybody's good at
right,
because things sound different, they come across different, and you're acutely aware because you tested it out, you know, 20 million times,
right,
one call after the next, and you start to realize that you have a finite amount of um, influence that you're going to have with the tools that you're using. So if you're just doing voice only, you lose what 65% of your ability to communicate.
right. Because they can't see your face
Can't see your face, right?
and
So
they
now
can't see your hand movements. Right,
if you're on camera in your little box on a Zoom call, there's still limitations.
correct.
So that would make sense to me. Just you naturally know that when you're giving the main point or the idea, or you're trying to get commitment and buy-in, that you're going to have to present it in a way that's going to be the most processable, most digestible to the aggregate of the group,
Right,
right? You can't. They're not all like John.
right,
So since they're not all like John, you have to talk to them somewhere where it's going to have less impact at the John level, and your bell curve is going to have a little less. But
right,
in general, in that the you're going to have the most impact on the most people by approaching it that way because sales sounds salesy because it's a psychological process. It's 100% based on psychology.
right,
So people sound like salespeople because there are steps to get people to pay attention, get excited, see the problem, want to solve it, and then want to look to you to help them do it.
right,
You have to take them through that arc,
right,
and you have a small amount of time to do it. So
right,
it sounds like sales because it is.
right. everything is. Right.
Right.
No, it's just it to me. I mean, I enjoy it,
Yeah.
but at the same point, it's like, fuck, God, I would punch me in the face.
Right. Right. There's a reason why you're driving the bus and they're on the bus.
Right.
If somebody else was like you, they might come up and challenge you to be the bus driver.
Right.
That could happen.
And
That
the
could
funny
happen.
part is, so I don't know how you feel about this, but if I think the person is better at driving the bus, I have no problem moving over to the passenger seat.
Oh
I
yeah, same.
don't. I don't. I don't. I've always said, if I can learn from you to be better,
Yeah.
I have no problem. I have no problem doing that. I don't. I deal with a lot of guys that have a lot of experience. Um, they're older, and I think they don't understand the room anymore. They can't read the room like they used to. The room is so different,
Right.
and I want to learn, and I can learn techniques. But when I see they don't make the connections that I make a connection with when they're talking to the room, I sit there and I go, okay, well, you're not driving the bus. That's it. You're not. You just lost the room. I watched you lose the room by over talking your point, or giving an example that nobody understands.
Right.
You lost the room. You
It's
got
because
me.
they don't know the process.
Right.
It's not their fault that they if you don't know the structure of a conversation, or you don't know the structure of a sales pitch, or whatever the case may be, either because you don't have the experience, or you were never taught that skill, or you've never broken it down to understand where you're supposed to go, they're going to lose it. They're the same people who get to the after they summarize, you get to the pitch, then you ask for a commitment. They're the people who don't know how to ask for a sale.
Right.
And this is why people don't like sales. People think that I can teach. I have literally trained every personality type to be a salesperson, because
Right.
I teach them the structure, and I explain it to them in a way that they can understand how they do those behaviors.
Right.
And that if they hate it and they don't like the way it feels, you don't not do it because it fucking works. You do it because it works. If you don't like it, I can teach you coping skills in order to get past the part you don't like,
Right.
but you're not going to fucking not do it.
Right.
But how many people in sales would you hear never ask someone to make a decision?
Right.
They get all the way up to that, and then they dance around it. So, okay, got your quote, and I got your thing. I know you need it, and it is really good. And I know you guys know, I was like talking to the group, you guys are, I can feel like you guys are pumped, and stuff. Had a good weekend. And those are the people who are like, fuck, all right, get off stage. You have to
Right.
close. You have to close.
So,
Guys, so let me summarize what we talked about, okay? ABC, XYZ. Yeah, got it. Repeat it. ABC, XYZ. Good. And then you take them back through the process, and then you're like, all right, so are you going to shit, or are you going to get off the pot? Tell me
right.
now.
So
I'm going to shit. It's fucking right.
do you think people have a problem with closing because they can't relate for the way that some of them are taught how to ask for the sale? And not that, so I can say this comes back to the vanilla quiz too. I was thinking about this earlier, where I have no interest in having a chick with a collar around her neck, and feeding her kibble. But hey, if we wanted to cosplay and she was a zombie and I kept her in there and used her whenever I wanted to, okay, so it's the same thing,
Yeah.
but now it's related to you. So here's how you're going to ask for the close. I don't need you to say these exact words, but I need you to get to point D. How do you get to point D? Talk to me about how would you want me to sell you this? What is going to be, and I have to ask for the sale. You have to ask for the sale.
You're
That's
going to
the
have
point.
to ask them. You're going to have to ask them for a payment, no
Correct.
matter what. It
So
has to
talk
be.
to me about that.
It
Do
has
you
to be
want to
paid.
be slick? See, I always hated this. So do you want to use debit or credit? I hated that. I was more like, so do you want to get this started today? or something like I thought debit credit. I hated the way that sounded,
Yeah.
and there are times that I was able to adjust with more experience. Obviously, you talked about. All right, so we want to get this started. Did you want to include that second car on this, or whatever it is? But
Hey, you want me to send those ID cards to your email, or did you want me to fax them to the dealer?
right. Well, it's just in a different way.
Right.
You
Something
have
that
to
you could.
find the note. You need to find that note in the song that you can relate to, because once me, once I understand why I'm doing it, oh, fucking put your seatbelt on. We're driving right through the wall. Absolutely. If I don't understand, then my voice doesn't sound like this. There is no passion behind it. I'm reading a script. I am, and I use the experience at McDonald's a lot, a ton. I bring up the name of the company and say, hey, this is where I was. I believe in retention. I believe in all your lines of business. And this is me talking to technicians all the time. I
Yeah.
definitely take from that. Um, but just the close, right? The close is the magic. It is the magic. You have to be able to close. If you can't close, then you can't sell. And that's either a product, an idea, a work environment. I
Mhm.
mean, you have to be able to close.
Yeah.
I need to close you on what we're doing here. You may not be giving me money to do something, but I have to close you. And I think I try to do it in the most natural way possible that I can not feel like I'm being salesy, but I still think, because it's when I have passion about something, I think the tone changes. I think the tone is the biggest thing for me that
Yeah.
makes me feel like I'm being salesy. I don't know.
Are you being convincing?
Yeah.
You can't choke everybody with the end result.
No,
You're
you
you, you're
you're
a
right.
professional mind maker upper. That's what your job is.
Maker upper. I like that.
That's your
Perfect.
job, right?
Right. Absolutely.
That's a salesperson's job in general. You're a professional mind maker upper.
Yep.
You have people, they're either an emotional decision maker or they're a logical decision maker, and and they can be in both. They can vacillate back and forth. But if you don't identify where they are before you close them, you're going to close with logic on someone who's in emotion and you're going to lose it. Or you're
Right.
going to close with emotion with someone who's in logic and you're going to lose it.
That's reading the
So
room. Absolutely.
determine where they are. If you're dealing with a group of people, then your job is to own those feelings.
Right.
So you take control of their emotion in the beginning because you get everyone to come out and let's get you out of your binary logical brain where you're
Open the
going, I don't like
pores.
this. This is stupid.
Open your
And
pores.
yep, I'm
Yep.
gonna pull everyone into emotion with me in some form or another. And I'll get 85% of you there.
Right.
And then I'm gonna have to push you into logic if if that's the best way to get people to not only agree to do something, but then to continuously do it. So
Right.
things that are really important, then you need to go with logic, or
Right.
things that are really dumb sometimes too. But it
Yep.
depends.
Yep.
But if you can't logic something that's dumb, then you're going to sell on emotion, and you're going to start with logic, then you're going to bring in emotion, and then a little bit of logic, and then bring it back, and you're going to close on the emotion because you're selling them on something that if you try to logic it, there's no good way to do it. You just have to fucking do it.
Right.
So now I'm going to appeal to your emotional side of, are you going to be committed to me and yourself in this process because it's the right thing to do no matter what. So you naturally go there. Just whether or not you can quantify it, identify it, like what you're doing, but that's that's all of human interaction. You're dealing with limbic responses, which tend to be emotional. Your amygdala fires, and your that gives you fight or flight response. It happens. Your
Right.
adrenaline kicks in, your heart rate goes up. These are all things don't feel right. Can you tell me why it doesn't feel right? No, it just doesn't feel right. It's my gut. My gut says, no, your gut doesn't say shit. Your brain is saying shit, but it's part of your brain that doesn't use words or logic.
Right.
There's no vocabulary in it. So it's your gut. Or my heart feels like, your heart doesn't feel like anything unless you've had a cardiac arrhythmia or a heart attack. Your heart doesn't feel anything, but people speak to emotions in a way that it's a visceral. I can feel something and I can't express why I feel it. Well, you can't because there's no words in that part of your brain, and that's okay.
Right.
I'm horny. Can you describe that for me? I want to fuck something. Like you how much do you have to explain that? You don't, because it's an emotion, right? You're having this
Right.
chemical reaction. I want to put it in the vagina, and then I want to create friction. What do you? No, you don't have to say that. You can say I'm horny. Everybody understands it's fucking, right?
Right.
Release. We all know there's a few ways to get there, but for the most part, it's the same result, right? There's the same result. I'm hungry. That's an emotion. That's a chemical reaction. That's ghrelin and leptin in your fucking stomach going, pew, pew, it's time to eat. Get the stomach acids going, signal to your brain. It's time to only focus on this, pump all the blood into your stomach, make it uncomfortable so you can get your brain to stop overthinking and go fucking eat.
Right.
And it takes over you. But we all know what the end result is. If you're hungry, you eat. If you're horny, you fuck. If you're tired, you sleep. If you're stressed, you try and get away from the stress.
Right.
If you're angry, you fight. If you're scared, you fight.
Right.
You have shame, you retreat and maybe fight. But those things are actually easier to deal with if you know that you're dealing with a chemical limbic response, because then you can say, why would I try and talk somebody out of being hungry?
Right.
You're not going to. You can't talk someone out of being hungry. You might be able to shock them. You might be able to say something that drives an emotion that's stronger than that.
Right.
But if it's outside of replacing an emotion with an emotion, you're not in charge of that. You just have to recognize it exists. And if whatever you're selling, whatever you're closing, if it will help satisfy that emotion, then cool, you can do it. But
So,
otherwise.
I am very interested in the shelf help. Like if you give me some topics and stuff like that, or like I'm super, super interested in it. I really, really am. I think it is a wonderful idea, not taking away from the chaos of a big group and talking and stuff.
Right.
But I really, it strikes, I don't know if a nerve is the right way. Well, striking a nerve, it doesn't have to be bad. I really am interested in that whole premise. So if you, I am.
How does it make you feel? Like,
You stop being a dick. No, I mean, I genuinely, with no bullshit, because I don't really bullshit. I really enjoy watching people figure it out. I really enjoy when people fucking figure it out, whether I help them or whether I just put options in front of them sometimes,
yeah.
that they don't know exist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I really, really love that premise. I do. I can't think I can stress it enough. But I would probably want to do it high, but
You should. Whatever keeps you open, like
except if we listen to country music, I'm not in.
No, I'm off that.
But seriously, so if you send me over notes or something like certain topics that you want to talk, that you're interested in, that you're, I mean, this is your obviously vision, but I am more than willing to ride shotgun on that vision because I really like that idea. But I also like to have preparation where
Yeah, fair.
I
Well,
like to.
I'll
So
create.
that,
I'll create an agenda for the show. So
yeah, I mean, just so I can also get my stories and life experiences in line on what examples that I would like to give, or what things that I
Yeah.
would like to better myself in for sure. But yeah, I'm totally in that. And really, dude, come hang out tomorrow night. If
Okay.
you,
Remind me. Just remind me
yeah, I'll text you.
in the
I'll
afternoon.
text you.
Yeah, that'd
But
be cool.
being that it's like 1 o'clock and I have to get up
Yeah,
in
me
the
too.
morning,
Yeah,
but I enjoyed this. I always enjoy it. So
me
it's
too. Well, I got excited because I forget a lot that the reason I wanted to go with this topic because I thought about it for a few months and I'm like I want to do something that encapsulates all the things that I am interested and passionate about. And when I started thinking like, well, I've been, I did corporate training for a few years, and I relate everything back to understanding human nature.
right.
And in sales, I did that. That's why I have a very clearly defined understanding of not that the sales process exists, because that surface level is let's understand why we are wired to do these things always. And if you're a passionate and good salesperson, first off, that tells me that you're crazy because you want conflict, and sales is conflict.
Absolutely.
Anytime you ask someone to make a decision, it's conflict and it's
Energy
hard.
for the fight, dude. Energy for the fight.
So, and you're willing to be told no 100 times to be
Right.
told yes once, and that gives you enough energy to go after it again.
I was just thinking about it, dude. After a sale, high
Yeah.
five. I remember it was funny we were talking about what we were talking about when it was sales. And I was just thinking about closing and then getting the sale and getting that credit card number and just be like, fuck yes. Like, but I also all cards on the table. I believed in the product. So it was
Mhm.
very easy for me
Right.
to express that fuck yes and be honest about it. Like, fuck, that's
Yep.
awesome.
And
Like,
y- and y- and you needed the acknowledgement, which is it's normal. I mean,
right,
we have this dopamine rush. Feels good. I need someone to go ahead and participate in this moment with me because it's a communal thing. Success is
absolutely
a communal thing. It's something you do by yourself.
right. And
Um,
I never felt that it was, oh, I'm better than you.
nope,
I never ever felt
nope,
that way,
never.
ever. I was like, I love the competition, but it was never like,
So you want everyone to have the feeling that you're having.
absolutely,
And
over and over and over again, absolutely,
why do you think that? I mean, you know why where John was put in the section was strategic
right,
because you're the one that I needed to convince first
right,
because your body language alone would determine whether or not other people would be open, and
right.
you can't fake it.
No,
You can't. You're not good at it. And this is why you should never doubt yourself when you're doing something that's salesy. You shouldn't
right,
doubt yourself because it's not in your nature to be that way unless you believe in what you're doing.
right,
So if you sound overly enthusiastic, it's because you are enthusiastic and you're happy and you're engaged in the moment and the idea of making people's contract of time for money better
right.
and more for them, more for the company, more. It is good. These are good things. How can you not be
Right.
passionate about it? You know?
I hear you, but I always think about what would John think, and
Yeah,
that's
you
rough.
you have to keep yourself honest, so that's okay. You should not be.
Right.
You should not. Once you stop seeing yourself, whether you're succeeding, you're treading water, or you're failing, if you stop paying attention to that, then you lose your rudder.
Right.
And as soon as you don't know where you're going and why you're going in that direction, you fall apart for a while.
Right.
So you go, even if it's success, if you're having success and you don't know how and you don't know why, it's
Right.
upsetting because then you're like,
Unbelievably
you can't replicate it. Getting
correct.
lucky is not getting good.
No,
You need to be good.
hate it.
You
Hate
can't
it.
get by on luck.
No, absolutely not. No, I can't. It's funny that's really, really insightful because I cannot stand luck. Now, I understand that we put ourselves in the position to succeed,
Right.
and are some things lucky? Well, people's opinions vary on what is luck and what isn't.
Layups are
But
going to happen in life.
correct.
Someone's
But
going to
you
walk in
put
and go, "Hey, you know what? I got this bundle of cash. I already have my own bundle. I just want to give it to you because
right.
I don't know. You smiled at me. And you're like, what?
Yeah,
Thanks. You're like, no strings attached. Just have fun with it, dude. You're like, okay. Let me show me your bundle of cash too. Like, here's mine. You're like, oh, that's cool, dude. All right, rock on, cash
right,
buddy. You can handle that. You can't handle every 2 weeks somebody going, hey, guess what? Found another bundle of cash for you.
right.
You're like, wait,
Correct.
what?
Right.
I didn't earn this.
Nope. And
I
and
can't
that
I can't
is
rely on that.
that's funny. That's really, really good. That's like I said, very insightful. That I absolutely that way. Or absolutely not. I need to be able to do that again with a similar result,
Right.
or it wasn't real. And
Correct.
that's very interesting. That's funny.
Scientific process. Because
Yeah.
here's again, your brain is always creating paths towards some sort of outcome.
Right.
And the scientific process is precisely that.
Right.
Here's the end result, and look, these are the steps.
But if you can't tell me how I got from A, B to C to D,
Right.
I'm like, well, no, I don't get that. No, that's not right. I need to know, how did that happen? And if
You
it can
sounded
happen,
good. What does good sound like?
yeah, right. I
Break
was
that
like,
down
oh,
for me.
well, dude, I'll record some webinars and stuff like that, and I'll let people listen to it. And I'm like, hey, do me a favor, I need some feedback. Why? Because I want to know how it came. John, you do these all the time. Yeah, yeah, I know I do. Talk to me about it. What would you, if I was selling you on this, what would you want to hear, and why? What did I miss that will bring you over? With it, that would make you understand this part maybe even better.
Right.
And I love the challenge of that, and it drives me crazy when people go, "Yeah, no, that was great." Oh,
Yeah.
it's
I know. If you grabbed me and you're like, dude, Jeff, I need feedback. I need to know like what I could have done different. I'm like, I know like this is not a task to not take seriously. And every now and then I couldn't figure out a behavior to do different. And I'm much like you, scientific process. There's a structure. And I
right,
identify behaviors. Behaviors are words, actions, emotions, and then I would try and reverse engineer. And I'm like, I every now and then I have to tell you, dude, I got nothing for you. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done different because, like, let's break it down to obvious steps. Like everything else is a guess right now.
right,
Sometimes it just either works and go with it, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's a conflict of character. Sometimes it's you and that person are never going to work,
right,
and no one's good enough to make everybody believe them. No one's good enough to make everyone listen. There's
right,
not a transition. I'm like, if we would have gone left, they could have just been more pissed.
right,
My instinct would have been not to go left. I would have just been like,
right,
let them. Okay, we're good. But
right,
sometimes you fail on purpose. You just have to know that you did, and then it's not your fault because you're dealing
right,
with another human being. So
right,
you're like,
right. And everybody's a little bit
you
different. Yeah.
can't negotiate or compromise everything.
No, and you know what? I think I come through, like you said, with scientific method, everything in my head that works that way. But I'm also the person that breaks it down to practical use,
Hmm.
practical language to practical use, if that makes sense. Where, yeah, these are the steps. This is what we're supposed to do. Okay, but this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to do this, and this is the reason why.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I love that moment. That light bulb moment where somebody gave them step by step on how to do it, and they're like, but this is why we're doing it this way. Oh,
people don't buy what you do; they buy why you do it.
absolutely. Now you have drones that'll just do whatever they're told, but they'll never be, unless unless you believe it, unless the person on the other side believes that you believe it, I feel that you haven't achieved what you're looking to do. I really don't. I don't want you to do something because these are the requirements. I want you to do this because it's the requirements, and this is why it's the requirements, because this is what we're trying to achieve. And I love breaking it down. I love
Yeah.
doing that, and I love watching the perfect person's head go, "Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so tell me what you're feeling right now. How do you feel about what I just said? No, no, that makes sense because of this. Beautiful. We're good. That's what I want because I don't want you to do it because I said to do it. I want you to do it because you believe that's the right way to do it because this is the goal. And
Mhm.
I think I'm really good at taking that person that's got, if I have to fucking hear another people, clap, oh, let's get excited. Dude, I wanted to punch everybody in the face when they used to do that stuff because
Yeah.
to me, it's staged, it's fake, it's not real. I want you
Well,
to,
and you're only playing to your bell curve, right?
right,
If you're extreme one way or the other, and you don't mix it up, you can be super enthusiastic and you'll get 20%,
right,
or you can be super logical and you'll get 20%.
right,
But if your goal is to cover 100%, or you got to hit that 60% in the middle, which is a big chunk.
right,
Your difference between an F and an A or a B is whether or not you can now combine it
right,
all together. Like, here's the what, and then here's the why.
right,
Here's the what, and here's the why. I want you to do the thing because it's the right thing to do. I want you to understand why you're doing it and have pride in that, because that is going to carry you over when you're intimidated, when you're tired, when you're having a fight with your spouse, or what a kids, like, when all these things get in the way of your commitment to the what. I need you to remember the why,
right,
because real life happens, and we're not
right,
always going to be super engaged, and we're not always going to feel good. We're not always going to you know I get it. You're making a grocery list and you're trying to figure out, when to take your kid to therapy, and like you got all this shit that's clouding your brain. How do I get you past that emotional shit that's in your head? I need you to feel the emotion behind the behaviors that you're doing, because
absolutely,
that will make a difference. Now, in your aggregate, you're going to have a group of people who are only going to be binary worker bees, and they're going to be your average. They're going to be your middle of the pack people who
right,
come in and they never excel, but they don't fail.
correct,
And every organization needs that
absolutely,
because of your bell curve. You need those people who are just enough,
right,
and you can celebrate just enough, because if there's consistency in outcome, you can take somebody who's average and try and pull them one way or the other, and you realize, like, well, you know what, when I pull, they fall apart. Okay, I'm going to celebrate my people who keep me at a 3. you know like, I want to be, let's not be below there, so I need a base that does that, because I'm going to
right,
have
right,
people
right,
who are always going to fail, and I have people who are going to always succeed. I have my aggregate group. The 80/20 rule: where do I put my effort?
right,
Do I move the middle up? Do I move the bottom up, or do I move the top up further?
right,
Where do you spend your time?
right. I like what you said, pull. So there's two attitudes, I think, on that. Well, three. You give up, you pull, you hold up. So you have to figure out how it works,
Yeah.
what makes that person tick.
Yep.
And if it's pulling along, that's great, achieved. But if it's holding them up, and I don't mean to a higher standard, I mean instead of pulling them along, give them the tools to hold them up. And then, but there are cases where there's just, again, you have to decide on how much effort and how much time has to be spent with somebody.
Yeah. If you
You
if you
have
can
to.
prop them up and keep them from failing,
Yep.
then how much effort does it take to do that?
Right.
If you're pulling, that's so much work. How much time in business and life does your brain tell you that your job is to pull the bottom up? And you realize I'm always losing my bottom, and my success rate of taking a 1 to a 3
Right.
is what percent? How much effort did you put, and then how much effort did you not put into the others?
Right.
And if you prop up your middle of that bell, keep them going, how much effort does it take to keep them average? An
Right.
average amount of effort.
Right. Right.
How much
Right.
does it take to keep the people at the top? A little more than average, because they tend to have bigger egos. They tend to have
Right.
more emotion in what they're doing naturally. So you're like, I have to bring more emotion to that group than I do this middle group.
Right.
Now, how much stress and fucking rationalization and threatening and every other fucking piece of energy I have to put in that 20% down here? You're like, fuck, dude, I put 80% of my effort into that group,
Right.
and that doesn't move me ahead.
No.
The way you
Treading water.
How do you have success if you're in an organization where your
Right.
job is to do that? It is taking your middle and your top and moving them incrementally,
Right.
and then a little bit left for the ones at the bottom, because although we'd like to think that we could be martyrs and save everybody,
Right.
if you're in a
You have to be
position of
realist. You have to be realist too.
leadership,
Right.
then your job is to inspire the bunch and create an outcome that's commensurate with the goals that you've been given. So you have to spend your time wisely.
Yep.
You have to spend your effort wisely. And
Sometimes that breaks your heart too,
well,
because you can
you,
see potential. You can see potential, and you blame yourself for not being able to reach that person.
mhm.
Like shit. What could I have done differently? What could I have? What kind of tactic could I have used? How could I have come at this person in a way that they could reach their potential? And like you said, you have to decide on how much energy,
Here's another
right?
thing. This is another shelf help topic, or concept that I used. Um, Everyone hears about potential forever.
Right.
Potential. You have potential. That person has potential. You're an underachiever, but you have potential. What's that? Fuck you. Um, potential. Potential means energy. That's what potential means.
Right.
So if you have a potentiator dial, you turn it up, it increases the flow of energy, right? Um, you can take somebody and give them energy, and you can put your energy into them to try and get them to move. And if you think of the laws of thermodynamics, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, it only changes forms, right? An object will move uh, in a vacuum in one direction at the same speed, same velocity, unless another force acts upon it,
Right.
right? So these are all thermodynamic. These are just universal laws. So how much energy does it take me to take somebody with potential and get them to move their energy? It's a
Right.
lot, because you have an immovable object, and then you have you trying to get it to move.
Right.
That's a lot of fucking energy that you're putting into that. Now, capacity, this is something I figured out like last 5 or 6 years probably. Capacity is different. Capacity is the volume. It's how much can that thing hold. If your capacity is small, there's a finite amount of energy that you can put into that thing before it's full. Doesn't matter how hard you push, doesn't matter how much you turn up the dial. It the capacity is limited. So I think much less about potential and I think about capacity now. And then I relate that to your capacity for thought, your capacity for emotional intelligence, what's your capacity for your intellect, what's your capacity. Maybe you're a neurotic introvert, and maybe your capacity for this type of thing is like this big.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you that you have potential. Everyone has potential. You can choose to do something that moves the needle and you're showing your potential.
Right.
But some people are going to burn out. Some people are going to get worn out. They don't have the capacity for it.
Right.
So when I start evaluating human behavior, it's now based on what's your capacity. And if you don't know what it is, then let's figure it out together. And people are like, wait, what? I'm like, I don't, your potential is whatever. You're going to put energy into something, but how long until it exhausts you because you don't have the capacity to handle it?
Interesting.
But if you can change your capacity, what does that mean?
Right.
So we could relate it to behaviors. We can relate it to, understanding. We can relate it to your ability to change your vocabulary, and like you can do things that increase your capacity for things.
Well, if you can increase your capacity, you're limitless. There's that really is that's an interesting way of looking at that. Where, like you said, potential is potential. That's very interesting. I like that. All right, I have to leave you now because I'm getting very tired.
Yeah. Thanks
I
for
will.
opening up my brain and making me remember some of these things.
No, it's good. No, I'm glad it didn't take 4 hours to have a meaningful conversation. We were pretty good from the jump today.
Yeah.
I don't think we went off the rails at all. Talked a little bit about some movies. I know you know, but
No, it was on purpose, by
yeah,
design.
yeah, yeah. I will text you because I really want you should come out and hang out with Nicole and me.
Cool.
All right, I'll talk to you later, dude.
All right, buddy. Have a good
Night.
night. Where's my brain? G and J. What did I call it? John and Jeff Goofy Factory? I don't remember. Bullshit Factory. Anyway, if you're video on demand, thanks for tuning in and paying attention. I got to make sure that I update the description and tell people the things that we actually talked about tonight because I think it's, no, I know that it's some beneficial ideas and concepts. So, John, always fantastic to talk to. I enjoy your passion and your curiosity about everything. I really do. Yeah, always good times. So it looks like I'm going to a rock show tomorrow night. So I got to do that. Yeah, that'll be good actually. Drop D. Drop D. That's the band. Hey, do me a favor. Check out theshelfhelpshow.com. There's merchandise available. Buy a mouse pad from Atomic Dork Squad. Do a couple of shows. John and I do this. I don't have a name for it. Transplanted Devil. That's a concept that we're putting together. It's about being a stranger in a new town. It's about everyone is from somewhere else, oftentimes. And it's about bringing transplanted people together to create a community. Otherwise, the Shelf Help Show is on Saturdays for sure. Atomic Dork Squad on Sunday. It's just fun. It's just a community of like-minded people getting together to share some life experiences and remember that we are all hurtling towards our death, and we should live a life that makes sure we're not afraid of it. It's a human condition. So, yeah, potential versus capacity, emotion versus logic. Good times. I'm tired as hell. All right, have a good night. Don't forget to love one another and love yourself.